Part 36. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tio Lan. Chapter 355. The eldest lady is reading a book again. Which lady? He's the one who can be transferred to our class casually. No, he's sitting over there looking through things. Haha. It's so weird, wearing a swimsuit and reading a book. She is very lonely to begin with, right? Not like Vice President Julie Yuli. It's just that she doesn't care much when talking to her. In the seating area by the indoor swimming pool, Sakakihara stopped flipping through the notebook in his hand and kept listening to the discussion at the next table. The more I heard these things, the more unbearable anger surged in my heart. Although I know that Chi-Chi is unpopular and unpopular in everyone's eyes, although I have also had a lot of rumors in school. Even if you treat something like this that you take for granted, you can completely ignore it. But at this moment, he felt that he couldn't bear it at all. Tian Haikimingyu closed the notes he was studying, stood up, and walked straight towards the group of girls sitting around a round table. Snapped. A thick notebook was thrown directly into the center of the table where several people were sitting around. The loud noise startled several girls who were still communicating, and they all turned to look at 7 bright moons in the sky and the sea. Tian Haikimingyu raised her beautiful chin and looked down at several people. I'm sitting next to you and can hear everything clearly. Do you know what you are doing? Everyone looked at each other, no one spoke first. Is it fun to just talk about people for fun? Or am I disturbing you by reading a book on the sidelines? Tian Haikimingyu said in a calm tone, but there was a sense of oppression in the words that people could not ignore. We don't mean any harm, we're just chatting casually, one of the girls tried to explain. Just chatting? You are entertaining yourselves by slandering others. Is this how casual you are? The voice of 7 bright moons in the sky became even more unfriendly. You think this is fun? Do you want me to put this aside, tell your team leader what happened and ask her to comment on whether your behavior is interesting or not? Several girls lowered their heads silently, and no one spoke again. Tian Haikimingyu continued calmly, I don't need your sympathy, let alone your attention. I just hope that you can respect others. If you evaluate and discuss others at will, the next second others will evaluate or discuss you. When the time comes, don't blame me for not reminding you how your parents will be interviewed by the school. After saying that, Tian Haikimingyu packed up the notebooks on the table and turned to leave. As for the female classmates, although this conflict made their atmosphere a bit dull. It's not like you did this. Sakakibara Raku was about to stay away from here, and took advantage of his break to find a place to read through the research report on local customs and gods that he compiled a few days ago. Unexpectedly, when he turned around, he met Nanami in a swimsuit. Of course, judging from her appearance, she is now Sakakihara Suzu. Did you see everything just now? Nature. What Chi-Chi said did not sound like his own actions. This is indeed true. If you really encounter this kind of thing, you will most likely choose to ignore it. Because I had gotten used to hearing rumors and such a few months ago. Sakakihara Suzu added, why do you do this? You know I don't care about this. You don't care, I don't care. You can talk about a lot of things. I was a little impulsive just now, but I can sum it up to one point. The reason why I did this is very simple. You. Now I can be considered as being beaten. Gossip makes you feel uncomfortable. I was reading a book well, but somehow I was gossiped about. Think about it carefully, how many times has July been reading alone like this? She couldn't even find a partner with her at the barbecue party. How many times had she heard such isolation and exclusion among her classmates? It's not that Chi-Chi is ignoring people, she just seems colder. She doesn't like social interaction, so she acts like a hedgehog. But Sakaki Hararaku knows that the real July is not like this. She will also love people well, like people's persistence, their tolerance to take care of themselves again and again, and their accommodation in conversations and words every time. I felt her kindness. Such a person who had special meaning to him and was very important was gossiped about, and his anger suddenly rose. This happened. Compared with Sakakibara Raku, who still had the same emotion as before, the current Sakakibara Suzu seemed to be chuckling. Brother is really like a child. How does this look like a child? I can give you an example. For example, when you were a child, your mother was very good to you, took great care of you, took care of your daily life, and gave you the love of your family. And in school, you heard when a classmate insults your mother, you suddenly become angry and fight with him, warning him not to talk about my mother. Well, in my eyes, it was almost the same situation just now. It was all emotional reactions caused by the attack on a loved one. After saying these words, Sakaki Hararaku clearly felt that her voice became much softer. Although it was strange to say these words from Ling's face, Sakakibara tried hard to understand that this was the feeling in Chiu's heart. Why does Kyo's tone become smaller and smaller after the word beloved? This couldn't help but remind Sakakibara of some of the information he had read in the Customs and Culture notebook just now. Tian Haikaimingu asked, since we came here to practice diving in the afternoon, you have been holding the notebook you took from the hotel. What is that? Sakakibara replied, a few days ago, wasn't I completing a research report on gods for my school trip? Study tasks assigned by the school. Yes, that's it. It can be considered as studying the local customs and culture. The morning before yesterday when you took Yuki shopping, I went out with Fujino and the others to simply collect these things. I didn't expect you to really put this matter on the gods. Amamai Nanamai seemed like she couldn't accept it, and Sakaki Harasuzu's appearance made her look very annoyed. But there's nothing we can do about it, right? No one can explain our current situation unless we put it on the gods. I'm more looking forward to it being a dream, waking up and returning to the same state. Sakaki Harasuzu helplessly spread her hands. Okay, since my brother is so insistent, then I have no choice but to follow you, although I don't know if this is the right path. Sakakibara frowned. Chi, why do you still sound like a Suzu in your tone? She understood the current situation very well and was not surprised. Instead, she took the initiative to raise her arm, looked at it, and explained. Didn't I tell you when I came here? I was slightly affected by my body. Even if you were brother, you were so impulsive just now because of my influence, right? I didn't know just now. But when Sakakibara used her July body to swim, she really enjoyed the feeling of being watched. I feel that I am superior, I feel that I am confident, I feel that as long as I think about it, I can do anything immediately and do it immediately. I also enjoy the refreshing feeling of being appreciated as a woman. I really want those guys to fall under my lap and bow their heads. I really don't know if this is Xiao Qiu's desire for control. I can understand the impact. After all, human thinking is affected by hormones. But, it's only been a little over half a day. If this continues, I won't completely turn into you in July, right? Sakaki Hara couldn't help but guess. Who knows? But the biggest source of human action still comes from memory. Even if you are indeed affected by my body, as long as you still retain the memory of Sakakibara Raku, then you are still Sakakibara Raku, just biased Sakakibara Raku of Nanametsuki. The two of them came to sit outside and watched the teachers on the beach instructing their classmates to go diving while bringing the conversation back to the right track. Judging from the research report I compiled yesterday, the gods in local mythology are mainly divided into four: Kwaku, Kanai, Lono, and Quinamilo. Kwaku is the god of war and construction, symbolizing male strength and determination. He is the master of fertility and growth, and is also the patron saint of the Hawaiian royal family. Kane is the god of life and sunshine, representing creativity and vitality. He is considered the father of all things and the creator of mankind. Kane is also the master of water, land, and sky. Lono is the god of agriculture, music, and peace. Responsible for rain, harvests, and festivals. Lono is also the master of Makahiki, a traditional Hawaiian New Year's celebration that lasts 4 months and celebrates peace and harvest. Quinamilo is the god of fisheries and the ocean. Considered the patron saint of Hawaiian fishermen, he is responsible for protecting fishery resources and ensuring that fishermen can obtain a good harvest. Tian Hai Kaimingu flipped through the notes in his hand. In addition to these 4 gods, there are also the goddess Xena, the demigod Maui, Kananlua, Lono, etc. who have husband and wife relationships with several gods. It doesn't sound like there is any connection. These representatives and symbols are also common powers of gods in various civilizations. That's right, Sakakibara confirmed her answer, but through online searches, I actually found that there are different versions of these gods, and there are a large number of descriptions of the same goddess Paimalo. In the description, the deeds of this goddess are related to a large number of gods. These stories are very similar, but they all represent the same thing. Don't try to take something away. This thing continues to this day and seems to have become a popular local legend. Tourists should not take things from Hawaii's beaches. Stone, sand, or coral, or face a curse or punishment. Yes, Sakakihara Suzu nodded, I've finished listening. Then? What do you think in July? Although in my opinion, this is just like a joke. But I can still follow your train of thought. Do you mean that the reason why we are like this is because we took things that we shouldn't take away? I'm not sure, I'm just saying it's possible. Sakakibara Suzu looked at Tenkai Nanamajetsu with disbelief. Actually, when this kind of supernatural power occurs, I hope not to explain this kind of thing. Because the more you explain, the weirder it gets. Now, brother, why don't you explain it? The matter is attributed to the gods. Okay, I am willing to think so, at least there is something to support the explanation. So what should we do next? It's very simple. Since the legend is like this and it is limited to just a few of us, then just ask the other 2 people. Asterisk. Sakakibara Raku and Amamai Nanamayu found Amamai Kuruori and Sakakihara Suzu successively. The 2, a physical couple, had just completed a dive on the beach deck. The snow of Tianhai is also waiting for them to come ashore. Sakakihara called the 2 of them over and asked about the matter. What kind of stone? I haven't taken it before. As for the other things, did you take them back as souvenirs? No, Sakakihara Suzu replied. Probably because she used Liuli's body, she now seems to be full of sunshine and vitality all the time. She has a better figure, bigger breasts, and is full of energy. What about Ruri? Sakakibara asked again to Tianhaiju Ruri. I haven't taken anything back here. Tianhaiju Liuli also shook his head. This is difficult to handle. Could it be that this punishment was simply a wrong guess? While Sakakibara was thinking about the correctness of her thinking, Amamai Yuki heard a conversation between several people and said that she had taken something back. Yuki, did you take the things back? Tianhai's Higsu in a swimsuit sat on the wooden stilts of the wooden deck, shaking her white and naked feet. Behind her is the endless blue sea and the arc-shaped bays on both sides. What did you take back? When did you take it? It seems to be, Tianhai's Higsu thought for a long time and tried to recall, a very beautiful stone. When and what kind? Sakakihara asked. Well, Tianhai's Higsu tried hard to brew for a long time, then put his hands on the wooden stake beside him. I can't remember. It's okay, as long as you know that Yuki did pick up something from the beach and bring it back. When things got here, Raku Sakakihara had no interest in participating in the day's diving activity. Just let Aling and Liuli play around first. Returning to the hotel at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, Sakakibara immediately went to Yuki's room to get the stone. Not to mention this thing, it's really pretty and colorful. Countless tiny lights are emitted from the smooth surface. Yuki, let me borrow your computer. Okay. Sakakibara immediately used Amami's computer to search for information about Hawaii and smooth stones on the website. It went much smoother than expected. This stone is not a rare thing. Many tourists have seen it on the beach and posted it online. There are probably hundreds of them. Finally, Sakakibara found a message from a local in a travel message. He said that the stone was brought by an alien god named Kaialoia. Stone. Since the arrival of this god, such stones have often appeared on the seashore. This is great news. Since all gods have legends about not taking away things, is it possible that the punishment is triggered by taking away the god's things? Sakaki Hararaku is not sure, but he knows that this limited time event is something derived from the integration of ontology culture. In other words, if you want to unlock this thing, you really have to understand this god thoroughly, and then you can know the way to truly swap your body back. This information was sent to Tianhai Kaimingyu. Sakakibara took his hands off the computer. Turning around to look at the sky again, it was already dark. Looking back, Tianhai's Higsu was lying on the bed sleeping. With a clean face and even breathing, he looked like a kitten, lying on his side on the big down bed with his hands folded. Sure enough, Yuki is cute no matter what time or angle you look at. But before he was happy for 2 seconds, Sakaki Hararaku encountered another bad thing. He wants to go to the toilet. I didn't drink much water at all in the morning, and when I came back in the afternoon, I hurriedly searched for information. When he came to his senses, he realized that he wanted to urinate. But what to do? Now it is the body of Tianhai Kaimingyu. Using her body to urinate. Weird, so weird. Regardless of whether he is a July person or not, the fact that a boy uses a girl's body to urinate is embarrassing enough. A line message suddenly popped up on the phone. It's Liuli. Several people exchanged mobile phones in the morning. Liuli, there is something very embarrassing that I want to tell Lejun. What should I do if I want to go to the toilet? How about you, Liuli? Sakaki Hararaku. No, at this moment, he should call himself Tenkai Nanamayu. She had been holding it in for a whole day, and she already felt that her legs were at their limit, and her knees began to rub back and forth in discomfort. Therefore, she understands how Liuli feels now. Liuli, because I am very embarrassed, I have been holding it in for a whole day and this thing about Lejun is really hard to control. Sakaki Hararaku. Inexplicably, he was still a little curious. What, it's not easy to control the law? I don't know if it was the sentence that confused Liuli on the other side. She didn't reply for a long time. Hiss. Tianhai Kaimingyu was so anxious that she rubbed her legs back and forth, and at the same time was embarrassed to go to the toilet against Chi-Chi's wish not to look at her body. Liuli, that's right, if you touch it just a little bit, it will become bigger or something, which is quite uncomfortable. Is Lejun always like this? That's right. Liuli, Lejun feels like I can't bear it anymore. Can I go to the toilet? You don't mind, do you? Tianhai Kaimingyu now wants to slap himself on the head. What is this? Sakaki Hara's fingers were trembling as he typed, then go ahead. Liuli, are there any precautions? Raku Sakakibara, don't let it get bigger, it will easily deviate from the track. Liuli, but it seems like I can't get any smaller now. It's always been like this. Sakaki Hararaku, then go ahead and remember to aim carefully. Liuli. Sakaki Hararaku, by the way, you can just squat down, and don't worry about squatting. Liuli, okay. Asterisk. Put down the phone, Liuli has finished explaining. Sakakibara wants to show his girlfriend. It's okay. A grown man has nothing to be shy about. Even here in July, we still need to ask questions in July. I found Kyo's contact information on the line again and asked her. July, what, you want to go to the toilet? I've been holding it in for a whole day, okay. July, hold it, wait for me to come. I am going to the limit, okay, just tell me that you agree, and I'll go straight to it. It's not like I don't know how you girls go to the toilet, you just squat down. July, hold on a little longer, wait for me to come also, don't pee on my legs. Hiss. Tian Haikimingyu put down the phone in pain, stretched out his hand to press his lower abdomen, and frowned. Unexpectedly, in this wise life, I could still choke myself to death. July, hurry up. I know. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 356. Okay, let's go in. You came here in a hurry just to blindfold me in Kyo. Otherwise. Do you still expect me to teach you how to use the toilet step by step? Well, it's not impossible. After all, I'm using your body. While talking, Sakakibara Raku was led into the toilet by Amami Nanamajetsu. Tian Haikimingyu took one more look at her body in front of her, said a few words, then closed the door and walked out. Sakakibara Raku was really suffocating to death, so after July left, he took off his shorts and sat on the toilet with a red face. Sound of toilet flushing. Call. With a squeak, Sakakibara Suzu, who was waiting with her arms folded outside the toilet seat, saw Tenkai Nanamajetsu blushing and opened the door and walked out. It's really weird to watch myself after going to the toilet with this expression on my face. Sakakibara held the toilet paper, feeling a little ashamed of the feeling just now, and tried his best to argue. Don't think I don't find it weird. Did you use paper after finishing it? Sakakibara Suzu took a closer look at the red face on the other side. Nonsense, girls have to use paper to urinate in the toilet, I still know that. Then why are you blushing? This kind of thing is already very shameful, okay. It's your body in Kyo. Hiss. As he spoke, Sakakibara suddenly covered his stomach again, stumbled subconsciously, and fell on the body of Sakakibara Suzu in front of him, and was supported by her. It hurts. What's going on? Did you have a stomachache yesterday in Kyo? No. What is that? I feel a cold pain in my lower abdomen. It's like an ice cube. Hiss. Tian Haikimingyu could tell what was going on at a glance. She said to Tian Haikimingyu calmly. It's just my period. Huh? What did you say? Sakakibara covered his stomach with one hand, and held Nanami's shoulder with the other hand, staring at the face that originally belonged to his sister. Expression of pain. Counting the time, it's almost the same time for me. Is this really the time? That's right. Then, doesn't that mean he's going to bleed heavily? Sakakibara Suzu nodded, facing her painful look, that's right. Why is this happening? The discomfort in his stomach gradually made it difficult for Raku Sakakibara to stand up. I wonder if it was due to changes in his body that his ability to withstand pain also weakened. Sakakibara Raku changed from covering his stomach with one hand to covering his stomach with both hands. No, it's really not possible. Chi-chi, you seem to be bleeding. It's my brother who is bleeding now. They're all the same. What should I do now? I've never experienced this and I don't know how to deal with it. Just wait, it's not like I haven't put on a sanitary napkin. Huh? Is that it? Otherwise. Do you think that when a girl gets her period, she will lose all her blood at once? I thought it would come out all at once. Amami Nanamajetsu supported Sakakibara Raku and took her to the big bed where Amami Yuki slept. At the same time, she explained seriously. Menstruation comes in bursts, and the amount of bleeding varies each time. You have to change sanitary napkins according to the amount of bleeding. Now, brother, please lie down in bed and rest. How long is this going to hurt? I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 days. Ah, so long? Why did I think you would be fine after a while of pain? The same goes for a ling. This time will vary depending on the individual's physique. I usually endured it before. My sister Chan may only feel pain for a while. She helped Raku Sakakibara to lie down beside the bed, while Amami Nazuki was still sleeping quietly holding the white cat doll beside her. Tian Haikimingyu said rather troubledly. It will be dinner time in a minute. I think you probably don't want to go downstairs anymore. That's right. Tian Haikimingyu glanced at Tian Hai's Higsu who was sleeping soundly, and then said, then you two stay here first, I will bring you food, don't let me move around. Tian Haikimingyu warned and left the room resolutely. Pin the door by the way. Sakakibara lay with his head on the pillow, but his spirit was tortured by the stabbing pain in his lower abdomen. He turned his head and sighed in his heart that it was really not easy for girls. At the same time, he turned to look at the sleeping Tian Hai's Higsu. She was sleeping holding the white cat she had given her earlier. She hugged him tightly. Slept so comfortingly. I will cherish it very much. This reminded Sakaki Hararaku of what Yuzuki said to herself when she played guitar music for herself. She said she loved her confession. Is this the first time that little Yuki confesses her love? Before that, I didn't even know what liking was. For the first time, she felt warmth, for the first time she felt loved, and for the first time she wrote a song for someone else and gave it to her. All she got in exchange was a white cat doll in her arms. When there is no warmth, when a person is so lonely that she wants to be hugged, she can probably only hold this white cat, right? These feelings of sympathy made Sakakibara reach out and take the initiative to take the quilt on her body and cover her arms. Happy. Probably feeling the movement, she whispered softly in her sleep. Well. It was obviously just a simple LE, a simple call, but Sakaki Hararaku felt like she was the only weak call left in the cold and snowy weather. A little girl was tortured by the wind and snow in the snow that could not be seen. Snowflakes covered her face and her whole body. She was so weak that she curled up, and the cold gradually eroded the remaining warmth in her body. When she was dying, she faintly shouted out a name, as if she believed and longed for that person to appear and save herself. Sakakibara looked at Amami Nazuki's lovely sleeping face and heard her murmurings from the bottom of his heart, feeling her emotions. On the days Higsu fell ill, he went to visit her, and the way she said "I'm glad you came to see me" at the first sight of him surfaced again. The physical pain and weakness are intertwined with this feeling and the happy times he spent with Higsu in the past. It makes the spirit more exhausted and also makes the girl's sleeping face become more beautiful and hazy. I want Higsu to be happy, and I also want Higsu to be happy. I want this simple child to no longer envy other children who have parents. Sakaki Hararaku felt that this was probably his feelings for Zyuki, right? The memories in her mind were entangled, and her hand involuntarily touched her face. Tianhai's Higsu was awakened. She opened her eyes. After seeing that the face in front of her was Tianhai Kaimingyu, she subconsciously moved towards her and put her head to her side. Like a child seeking its mother's embrace, it approaches her while half asleep and half awake. Zyuki. I'm not Zyuki. Sakakibara turned his head sideways, and at the same time turned his body to look at Amami Nazuki on the other side of the pillow. They were face to face, so close that they could smell each other's scent. Tianhai's Higsu blinked, then who are you? Sakakibara Raku chuckled, Zyuki, have you forgotten? Didn't we tell you at noon that Zyuki has become Suzu and Raku has become Zyuki? That's Syukiwei's joy. What kind of title is this? Tianhai's Higsu, I haven't talked to Le in the past few days. Yes, Sakaki Hararaku's answer was more or less guilty, because this was the snow that he deliberately stayed away from. How did Le become Xiao cheese? Although the taste is Xiao cheese, the words are the feeling of Le. Well, I can't explain it clearly. I want to be happy. Dot. Want to talk to Le. Dot. I also want Le to listen to me play the piano. I also want Le to help make videos together. Everyone is saying that there has been no update for a long time. Dot. Can Le also take me to McDonald's? I'm a little hungry now. Dot. Le will also take me to see the aquarium, right? As Le said, there are many, many things in this world that I have never seen. If possible, I hope to go see them with Le. Dot. By the way, I recently wrote a song for Le to listen to. It was specially written for Le to listen to. I originally wanted to use the song as a gift for Le to listen to, but I suddenly fell ill, so I couldn't finish it. After I was discharged from the hospital, I haven't been able to see Le, and Le seems to be avoiding me these past 2 days. Dot. Tianhai's Higsu's words are more like icicles piercing into the heart. Did she forget about her playing the piano that night? She actually got sick because she hurt her before, and she forgot many things, including what happened that night, right? Well, Raku Sakakibara didn't know what to do at this time, so he had to borrow Nanami's body and reach out to touch her head. Yuki is very well behaved. After being touched on the head, he closed his eyes and relaxed his whole body like a kitten. Sakakibara suddenly felt that the pain in his stomach was no longer so painful. He said, Kyo has been taking care of you in the past 2 days, right? Although the time was very short, how does Yuki feel about Kyo? Xiaoqi is very good. He will also take me out shopping, but I also wanted to call Le and come with everyone, but Xiaoqi refused. Sakakihara smiled and continued to touch her head. It can be seen that Yuki also likes Kyo very much. Xiaoqi often touches my head like Le does, and even hugs me to sleep. Now Le is very much like Xiaoqi. What's wrong? Suddenly in a daze? No, Xiaoqi is also like Le. Amami Nazuki shook her head, and for a moment she couldn't tell whether the person in front of her was Amami Nanamijetsu or Sakakibara Raku. Or more like a combination of the two. They are all good people to themselves. Kyo, you are really good to Yuki, right? Sakakihara asked again. It's July. Sakakihara knew that Chi-Chi took care of Yuki in such a way, but there was actually a little more than a simple purpose in it. The reason is to make Yuki give up liking him, so that the old man can compromise. Mingming's Higsu likes Chi-Chi's care so much. But the purpose of this care is not simple. This makes Sakakihara Raku feel that everyone is taking advantage of Yuki's innocence. It seemed like he was deceiving her simple heart. Zioki still wrote something in Lee's manual. Did I write it in the manual for you? What did it say? Sakakihara asked quickly. Happy, wait a moment. Amami Yuki got out of bed with bare feet. She came to the desk, gave the life manual with guitar patterns to Sakakihara Raku, and then turned to the last page to show him. Sakakibara ran his fingers over the page and saw the handwriting of Tenkai Nanamijetsu. It clearly says, no matter what happens in the future, you can come to Sister Kyo for help. This sentence made Sakakihara Raku stunned for a long time. He thought for a long time and couldn't figure out why Chi-Chi was like this. July, why is it written like this on this? Logically speaking, isn't her purpose in taking care of Higsu impure? Why should Higsu write such conditions that are completely unfavorable to her? If Higsu doesn't want to give up, then aren't these words completely binding Kyo? July will never break the promise. Because she hates people who break promises. As long as she writes it down, she will definitely do it. Sakakibara closed the Yuki life manual again and asked Amami Yuki to put it back for safekeeping. While thinking, he waited for the return of the 7 bright moons in the sky. Asterisk. Boom boom. After knocking on the door twice, Sakakibara's Suzu came back carrying several meals in plastic boxes. There are even 5 dishes and 1 soup, including meat, fish, and vegetables. She came to the bedside, took out these things, and complained in a tone that sounded a bit like a ling. Really, how can I take care of you two like a nanny, even though I haven't eaten yet? Eat your food quickly to avoid it getting cold. To be honest, lying on the bedside, Sakakibara felt like July was his mother. Although she is now using her old sister's body. I want Zyoki to feed. I know, I'll feed you later. Sakakibara's Suzu opened her lunchbox and looked at Sakakibara Raku on the bed. Is it better? Better. Whether the bleeding is heavy or not, go to the toilet and change the sanitary napkin first. It's okay, just not that refreshing. Then go and change the sanitary napkin. If you don't know how, I'll go over and teach you how to put it on. What a serious July. Sakakibara Raku is still a little used to it. It's like a worried mother taking care of 2 children. Sakakibara Raku was helped to the toilet by Sakakibara's Suzu again. This time Chi-Chi didn't blindfold him. Instead, he took out the sanitary napkin he usually used and said directly. You can watch it if you want, but I advise you not to watch it. What grown man wants to see himself bleeding? But why did Chi-Chi suddenly not want me to blindfold him? Tian Haikimingyu tore off the package of the sanitary napkin. I couldn't accept it at first. But, since you are under my surveillance, I agree. You can see it if you want. July. You know I don't like to beat around the bush sometimes. Tian Haikimingyu was quiet for a while. I mainly think of your appearance in the afternoon. That time you were gossiped about. Yes, Tian Haikimingyu replied, unpacking all the sanitary napkin packaging. From the current perspective, although it was you who was being gossiped about, in my opinion, you were angry because of me, and when I saw you getting angry just because you heard a few words said to me, I felt a sense of security in my heart, feeling that I was cared for and loved. Sakakibara also became quieter. No wonder you made so many jokes at that time. It turns out you were just hiding your feelings. While Amami Nanamajetsu pulled down the opponent's shorts and faji at the same time, he stretched out his hand to lift Sakakibara Raku's chin, and used his dead fish eyes to signal him not to peek. Raku Sakakibara heard a tearing sound. I am actually very complicated myself. I obviously don't care about these things, and I obviously don't want to be cared about, but I still can't help but feel touched in my heart after seeing you take action for me. Kyo, Raku Sakakibara's voice suddenly became softer. It's not that you don't want to care about Kyo, right? No, Tian Haikimingyu rejected it flatly. I really don't need to care. I don't care about the rumors. You look at me pitifully, but in fact that's just what you see from your perspective. Then why do you feel your heart is touched in July? Isn't it? As Sakakibara Raku spoke, his voice suddenly stopped. Someone is really stupid. Do you want me to explain everything clearly? I just feel something because you took action for me. July. The meaning of July is very simple. Nowadays, she really doesn't need too much care, and she has also learned to endure loneliness. Only when she takes action for her will she be touched and feel something in her heart. If you want to ask why, it is that he has already entered her heart before she consolidated her own psychological defense. In other words, the emotion in Kyo's heart was something that had only belonged to her for a long time. He had already entered her heart. It is special and has a unique status. These words, these emotions coming from her soul. It made Sakakibara Raku's throat sore. Fall in love with me again. It doesn't feel like you are the one who has always cared for me the most in Kyo. Oh, if my sister hears this, she will definitely cry for a month. I will try my best to be as flat as possible, dash. Tian Haikimingyu suddenly raised his head and tightened his grip. Wipe your blood, don't make that weird sound with my body. It's a subconscious act. Not even subconsciously. By the way, your body is usually so sensitive in Kyo. You just touched it a little bit like this dash. Sakaki Harasuzu put a clean sanitary napkin directly on the opponent's face and said viciously. Stop talking nonsense to me. One moment an angel, the next moment a demon. An unexpected contrast. The key is that Chi-Chi still uses the face of his sister. After Sakakibara glanced at her secretly, he couldn't help but want to complain. There is nothing so strange in the world. Tian Haikimingyu threw all the used garbage in his hands into the trash can, and then said directly. Have changed, and pull up your pants for me. I don't have time to talk to you about love and affection now. All you need to know is that I didn't go to bed with you last time, and even now I don't want you to look at me casually. Physically, I think you're not qualified yet. Then, what makes you qualified? Controlling the Tianhai family, or having more money and status. These things will certainly improve you, but for me they will only make you go further. So I don't care about that. Can you just tell me? You want me to have sex with you so much? Definitely not, I just want to make you happier. Also, Chi-Chi, it's really weird for you to say this with a Ling's face. Haha, this sentence is really ironic to say from the mouth of a scumbag. You said that in Kyo, but actually you don't want me to give up Liulai completely, right? Evens Higsu. Tian Haikimingyu suddenly looked at the face that belonged to her and frowned. Yuki showed you the manual just now. Yes, I saw what you wrote in July. Why did you write that? Or am I right? Tian Haikimingyu pondered for a long time, then shook her head. I don't know either, but according to my heart, I don't want to deceive Higsu, because she has done nothing wrong. At the same time, I also sympathize with her experience, because after truly understanding her, I only then did I realize that she and I are essentially the same. Kyo, you want me to love them all. Did I say that? No, so I'm just guessing. At this point, Tian Haikimingyu has no intention of continuing the conversation. She directly asked Sakakibara Raku to go out for dinner, and she went out first. Sakaki Haro looked at her back and saw countless contradictory emotions in her body. The love that wants to be exclusive, the love that is reluctant to let go of my sister, the love that wants to save the love that had the same unfortunate childhood as myself. If Higsu's emotions were used, wouldn't she become another Bertha? If you give up on your sister completely, then all your previous feelings towards your sister will be false. All kinds of love and emotions are intertwined, making July itself very contradictory. Her emotions are even more so. How her emotional path will be decided in the end, Sakaki Hararaku cannot guess. However, one thing he was sure of. If Chi-Chi becomes a mother in the future, will she be the kind of mother who will love her children well? Will understand children and love children? Only by having a good childhood can we not be in such a complicated situation today. We are all, in fact, that child who lacks love and wants to love others. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 357. Brother, why are you still lying here? The next day, which was also the 11th day of the trip, it was breakfast time. Even after a night, Sakakibara felt that he had no energy at all, so he asked Chi-Chi to help bring food. Unexpectedly, this guy Ling also came over. Sakaki Hararaku, who was lying on the bed, immediately turned his back to her when he saw her expression. "Brother, don't be shy. We are all girls. There is nothing to be shy about. Go, go." Raku Sakakihara waved his hands back with disgust. "Who is a girl like you? It's obviously good. Why don't you change it back, brother? Even though it has the face of a July fox, for the sake of brother, I will call you sister from now on." Where do all these words come from? Sakakihara Suzu was still snickering with the face of Amamai Kuruori. "By the way, bro, is this your first time to feel the pain of menstruation? How does it feel? Is this something unclear?" "It feels very bad." Sakakibara tightened his grip on the quilt in front of him. This bed was basically filled with the scent of July's body. It's just that he's not in the mood to enjoy it now. Firstly, he is in July now, and this is his own fragrance, so he can smell it casually. Secondly, his aunt is really uncomfortable when he comes, and Kyo's constitution is weak, and he doesn't have the strength to move at all. Now he just wants to lie down quietly in the hotel and sleep. Okay, but Sister Liulai has now taken over the position of class monitor, brother, and is busy organizing classmates. She asked me to tell you that I am very sorry that I can't come to see you." "What's the matter?" "Liulai is still too polite." "This is my concern for you, brother." "Really, why do everyone care about you? If I hadn't stopped you, there would have been 4 people surrounding you when you woke up in the morning." "This is true." Sakakihara Raku also thought that if he was sick or something, the 4 of them would come to visit him. When there are many people, it's really difficult to deal with them when everyone speaks to each other. Zayas Higsu couldn't get in the conversation yet, so he had to take care of her feelings and chat with her for a while. When it comes to visiting patients, you can really take care of them more one-on-one. "I brought you the things. You should eat your breakfast first and then rest," Tianhai Minjio said as she pushed open the door of the room and took out the porridge. He also set up a small table on Sakakibara's bed so that he could sit up and eat. Sakakihara Raku was a little touched when he saw Nanamajetsu taking care of him so silently. But she feels extremely weird because of her Sakakihara Suzu face. Because Aling, a stinky girl, won't be so diligent at all. While eating breakfast, Sakakibara looked at the blue sky and white clouds outside the window, then turned around and asked Sakakibara Suzu, who came to visit him smoothly. "No one said you were weird yesterday, right?" Sakakibara Suzu sat on the edge of the bed, put her index finger on her face and said, "Well, although many people have said to me, 'Ruri-san, why do you think you are a little different?' but no matter how they think about it, they will never think that I am Sakakibara Suzu." "What about Liulai? Liulai stayed with you yesterday." "Sister Liulai." "Wow, don't talk about that." Suzu Sakakihara suddenly became excited. "Sister Liulai is using your body now. Didn't you swim yesterday? You know you need to add oxygen, so you have to move a big one when the oxygen tank came out." Sister Liulai was just going up to help her. Unexpectedly, she immediately lifted the giant oxygen tank that was more than 2 meters taller than her. At that time, the eyes of the foreigners were widened. "Brother, do you know?" Sakakibara tried not to think about that scene. "Liulai is a lovely girl, she just likes sports and looks more energetic, but why does she sound like a strong man now? It's almost unbearable to look at." Sakakibara Suzu continued, "Afterwards, Ruri said that she accidentally failed to control her strength. By the way, brother, are you so strong? You feel like you can be a weightlifting champion, but why don't you perform normally?" After taking a sip of porridge, Sakakibara said, "There is usually no place to use it. I am a bit strong. Ruri must not be used to using my body." "How do you feel, Suzu? How's it going?" Hum, it feels so good, okay. Even Li Yuli's face couldn't cover up Aling's stinky personality. Probably because Li Yuli has a perfect figure and big breasts, and with Aling's half-idle character, people around her have no problem liking her. Aling likes the feeling of being sought after. It is also consistent with her identity. After all, he is a well-established voice actor. He has performed on stage several times and is considered a semi-idol. Eating breakfast and chatting randomly. Since there was a museum visit in the morning, Aling went downstairs first and went to gather with Li Yuli's Higsu and the others. Only Tian Haikimingyu was left in the room. "Why don't you go in July?" Raku Sakakihara asked, handing her the finished plastic bowl. Sakakihara Suzu put the finished food bowl into a plastic bag and said, "On the one hand, it is to take care of your sick child, and on the other hand, we don't have much time. We will return to China soon. What will we do then? It's unclear if the body will be changed back." "That's right. By the way, this body doesn't belong to you in Kyiv. Stop talking about this. If you can walk a little bit, go out. Find the so-called clue you sent me yesterday. What about the school activities? Aren't we going to visit the museum today? We just want to explore the gods and customs. Wouldn't it be better to go to the museum together?" Sakakihara Suzu explained, "My sister is in charge of the museum, and the two of us will go alone to find it." Sakakihara Raku felt a little strange. "It stands to reason that Suzu and Li Yuli would not agree with me staying together with you, right? First of all, I want to remind you, brother, I am using Sister Chan's body now. Can you still fall in love with Sister Chan?" "That's true." Putting it on Aling's face, she no longer felt like she was in love with Chi-Chi. "It's not good to hold hands, let alone kiss. But I don't know if I still feel close to her because we are both women now." Asterisk. At 9 o'clock in the morning, taking advantage of the bright sunshine, Raku Sakakibara went out with Nanami Nanami Izuki. The destination is an open-air restaurant on the beach that I found on the internet yesterday. There are many colorful stones near the beach that Raku Sakakibara found on the internet yesterday as clues. You might get some news if you go there. The two walked across the intersection together. Because it is a world-famous tourist area, most tourists here wear sunglasses and dress fashionably and casually. There are many restaurants around with colorful snack advertisements written in exaggerated English. Most of the buildings are small bungalows on the beach, occasionally with two coconut trees as patron saints in front of the house. Walking on the road, a muscle car on the roadside passes in front of you. The streets reflect the bright and relaxing summer sun. I said, "July, there is no need for me to wear a skirt, right?" "How? Wearing a skirt feels so weird. My legs are exposed, and there are your sandals. This is my first time wearing shoes with heels, and I'm not used to it at all." Tian Haikimingyu said this in annoyance, not only carrying a girl's small waist bag on her bare right shoulder, but also wearing a sky blue dress that only girls wear. "This skirt is very light, and you can feel the hem of the skirt caressing your thighs even if you take a few steps." He lowered his head and looked at the white and clean feet under his feet, wearing sandals and belonging only to women. Sakakibara still can't believe it's his own foot. "Why are you so petite and pretty?" As I watched this, I became more confident. A beautiful girl with long legs. She turns heads every time she walks on the street. Everyone is just appreciating their own beauty. Envy, jealousy, praise. Can't help but look back. Sakakibara had only been away from Kyiv for a few minutes this time when he noticed that there were no less than 10 men looking at him and looking back at his shoulders and neck. Occasionally, some girls would also cast envious glances. You know, this is still in Hawaii in the United States. It is somewhat different from Asian aesthetics. Although there is also a reason why July itself has a bit of European ancestry. Sakakibara couldn't believe that he would feel so good after being a July for less than 2 days. This is completely different from the feeling of being noticed as a male. Still want to kick away the group of men who come over to show their attentiveness and start a random conversation? In other words, you can force them to help willingly and enjoy the pleasure of being sought after. Sakakihara Suzu turned her purple eyes beside her and noticed someone's body getting straighter and straighter. First of all, I must remind you not to let my body affect your thinking. Feeling that she was getting more and more confident as she walked on the road, Tenkai Nanamajetsu finally came back to her senses, recalling her psychology and feelings just now. Her head felt cold, and she asked Sakakibara Suzu with some fear. Do you usually have this mentality in July? What? Sakakihara Suzu looked at her one more time. It's this kind of confidence that makes you feel so proud when you walk on the road. Sakakihara Suzu walked steadily and said calmly, isn't this the truth? If you think about it carefully, it is indeed true. Not only is Chi-Chi outstanding in appearance, she is also the eldest daughter of the high-ranking Tianhai Zibao. She has her own pride. Then what do you usually think of me? Didn't you know about this earlier? Tianhai Kaimingyu raised his chin, carefully thought about Chi-Chi's usual attitude towards him, and made a guess. You don't have a desire to conquer me in July, do you? Unexpectedly, Sakakihara Suzu agreed smoothly, nodded and said, I admit this, it is indeed true. Sakakihara Raku was curious about the feeling of conquest. What do you want to do to me in July? The corners of Sakakihara Suzu's mouth seemed to be curved, and coupled with Suzu's already cute face, it looked like a little devil's smile. I seem to hear someone expecting something. No, just out of curiosity. Expect me to do something to you? That's not the case. You hesitated. You were really expecting it, right? I just feel that my usual interactions with you in Kyoto have become less. I look forward to spending more time alone with you. Brother, you are really a hopeless pervert. Even though the words were meant to be insulting, why did he feel so comfortable in his heart? Are you afraid that you are really a pervert? Asterisk. Follow July all the way to the seaside restaurant on the internet. The two did not go to the restaurant first, but first went to the beach next to the restaurant. When we got here, the tide became stronger. The sound of waves crashing constantly came from the sandy shore. The feet under my feet were all crushed and rubbed stones. The summer sun is shining high, and the blue sea is shining like bright stars. Looking along the waves, the yacht is speeding on the waves, and the Pacific Ocean stretches as far as the eye can see. There are also many tourists here for vacation, most of them walking in twos and threes, and some children squat down to pick up the colorful stones under their feet. Tianhai Kaimingyu looked at the sea. The wind on the sea blew her long flaxen hair back, and her face was cool. As she got closer to the beach, the sand would slip into her sandals when she walked to a place where the waves were wet. The waves come one after another, and the sand slowly returns to the sea from the gaps in the toes. Feeling as comfortable and cool as being touched by nature, Sakakibara took off his shoes and stepped directly into the sea to feel the solace from the sea. Even from my own perspective, the white feet of July stepping into the pebbled waves are so beautiful that they can be called pleasant to the eyes. This is the summer ocean. Sakakihara Suzu folded her arms behind her chest and looked at the back of the girl in front of her. I can see that you like my body very much. Tianhai Kaimingyu turned back, holding sandals in his hand, and said plausibly, after all, I have poured real love into this body, how can I not like it? Isn't it simple and astringent? Being astringent is instinctive. Of course love also exists. There is no conflict. And it's not that it's completely astringent, but I really feel the existence of beauty in it. Tianhai Kaimingyu said, turned around and lowered his head. He stared at his feet with some fine sand hanging in front of him and spoke. Probably because it touched some sea water, this foot is extremely beautiful under the sunlight. It's just a simple perversion. Sakaki Harasuzu said later. Tian Haikimingyu said naturally, and stepped back into the transparent sea water. How could this happen? Isn't the beautiful girl standing on the beach in summer beautiful? Now I can get closer. You can watch it, and you can also control it yourself. To be honest, this feeling is quite interesting. It is a completely different experience. In other words, are you happy being in my body? After all, she is a beautiful girl, and I just like beautiful girls. Well, it makes sense, right? Reluctantly. July. 7 bright moons in the sky and sea suddenly looked back. What? Don't want to tread water anymore. From the perspective of Sakaki Harasuzu, the person in front of her looks like a child with a little innocence. No, I just want to ask, what did you really mean when you told me yesterday that I was not qualified? Sakaki Harasuzu was helpless. Do you really need me to explain everything clearly? Well, isn't it good to be frank every once in a while? Okay, Sakaki Harasuzu seemed to agree, lowering her hands on her chest, her figure reflecting the restaurants and green trees on the seaside. Say you are not qualified. Actually it is not unqualified, I know you are indeed qualified. You like me, but I'm sorry, I don't feel much security with you right now. Is that the reason? That's right. Sakaki Harasuzu replied, because facing the sun, her purple eyes were particularly shining. In my opinion, although the distance between the brother and the sister Chan is not too close, in the brother's heart, the distance between the sister Chan and the sister Chan is not too close. Zhang is always the one who comes first, right? My brother never gives up on my sister Zhang. When she acts coquettishly or even overly coquettishly and shows a little temper, my brother will still satisfy her feelings. I can't say. But as if her brother would never give up on her, she had a perseverance. If my sister accidentally gets caught in the sea, my brother must be the one who will give his life no matter what, and save her ashore at all costs, right? Tian Haikimingyu blinked after hearing this. I treat Yukio, Li Yulai, and Zhigsu the same way. I believe what my brother says, but unfortunately I can only feel this feeling in my sister Chan's body now. July's words are not complicated. 7 bright moons in the sky and the sea thought about it seriously for a long time. In fact, July still lacks that kind of sense of security. That sense of security that would never give up on her. In Sakaki Hararaku's view, this was his action towards her, and he did not pay enough for her. He has always been the one who gave to Kyo. And I rarely have the opportunity to do anything for her. Even those things are completely enough for her personally. Sakaki Harasuzu obviously didn't want to dwell on this topic for too long. She held her little green hair on her head and said calmly. It's not that I don't trust my brother. Okay, brother, please come ashore now and let's continue to look for clues. Okay. Tian Haikimingyu was thinking seriously about how to regain a sense of security in Kyo, and went ashore carrying women's sandals. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 358. Visiting the museum is also a class activity. So before getting on the bus and arriving at the museum gate, Tianhai Julie Yulai was always responsible for maintaining order in the class. On behalf of the teacher, maintain order, roll call, and inform students of today's activity goals. Of course, Amamai Kuruori is now using the identity of Sakaki Bararaku, which can be regarded as helping Sakaki Bararaku manage the class. Have you noticed that the squad leader has become much cuter these past 2 days? Cute. Yes, don't you think? His behavior is a bit grand, he smiles more than usual, and he treats everyone a lot more gently. When you think about it, it's really a shame. Right, right. I feel like the squad leader is just like the deputy squad leader Li Yulai who didn't transfer to another class. After all, they are lovers. Discussions in the team came in 2s and 3s, and Tianhaijuli Yulai heard it with some helplessness. Although she did a good job of disguising Sakaki Hararaku, some details were still not quite perfect. I can't even get used to the hook and shoulder greetings from boys. The bus stopped, and Tianhaize, who was wearing sunglasses at the front of the bus, stood up. She clapped her hands and motioned to all the students to listen to her. Okay, stop chatting. We've arrived at our destination. Let's get off the bus now. From the entrance to the museum, from the modern hall to the ancient hall. Along the way, Tianhaijuli Yulai admired the magnificent furnishings in the museum. Cutting-edge technologies from the world's leading companies, as well as dinosaur fossils from the Cretaceous era, were all displayed in this museum. Several students were very interested in painting and brought their own drawing tablets to sketch the scenes they saw in the museum. Several students gathered around a Tyrannosaurus rex skeleton and asked Tianhaize how to handle the light when painting the skeleton. At the same time, several male students stood in front of the Tyrannosaurus rex's open mouth, posing in cool poses. Pose and let friends take photos of them. The classmates in the class sat around in twos and threes, occasionally making some jokes, and gathering together to discuss with each other with smiles on their faces. When Tianhaijuli Yulai looked at these scenes, he felt a warm feeling in his heart for some reason. She would even think that if Chi-Chi was here and saw these fossils, he would surely tell everyone something that no one knew, right? Then Suzuki will question Kyo, Lejun will complain, and Kyo will retort as a matter of course, while Kojiki just looks on blankly. Everyone speaks one sentence at a time and communicates with each other. These are obviously just very ordinary pictures. It is conceivable that Tianhaijuli Yulai found that a smile appeared on his face involuntarily. Xiao Le, Xiao Le. Ah, Tianhaijuli Yulai turned around, and then realized that it was Tianhaize calling him. What's wrong, Aunt? Aunt, Tianhaize felt strange, with a somewhat doubtful expression on his face. Didn't I tell Xiao before that you would either call me sister or call me teacher Zi outside? Why did you forget it all of a sudden? Speaking of which, in the past 2 days, why does he look so much like Xiaju? Not only his behavior, but also his smile, I feel like he looks very much like Xiaju. Sakaki Hararaku smiled calmly. After all, Li Yulai and I are boyfriend and girlfriend. That's right. If two people stay with each other for a long time, they will influence each other. Amami Azusa did not doubt Sakaki Bararaku's strangeness too much. Xiaju is also a very pitiful child. She has been used by her mother since she was a child, and her parents have never loved her. She is clearly a child, but she behaves like a stranger when we get along with her. However, the entire Tianhai family is also in a state of shamelessness and rigidity over this issue. Even to their children, they have to put on a face-saving attitude. Why did Sister Goza suddenly talk about this? It's nothing, it's just that when I saw Xiaoki, Xiaju, and even Zhigzu after returning to China not long ago, I understood why they like you. Tianhaize paused, raised his eyes, and met Tianhaijuli Yulai's eyes. Grandpa wants to. You already know about the betrothal of Zhigzu to you, right? I guess Xiaoki and Xiaju have already told you. I also came here to talk to you about this matter alone. No. What are you thinking? Amami Kuruori carefully recalled Sakaki Bararaku's attitude on this matter. I definitely won't agree. This is just an idea forced on people by Grandpa. That's right. Tianhaize nodded. The old man did indeed go too far. But from my perspective, I can more or less understand what the old man did. Why is that? Tianhaize did not rush to explain, but after thinking for a while, he said. The most important reason is very simple, isn't it? That child Zhigzu has only experienced love from you. But, isn't that just the care that Yuki deserves? You didn't say anything wrong, and of course you didn't do anything wrong. It's just that you overlooked one point. No one has ever taken such good care of Zhigzu, right down to her daily meals. her living habits, her hobbies and dreams. Xiao, do you think that without realizing it, Zhigzu only sees you in the world? Tianhaizuli Yulai did not reply, but carefully chewed on what Tianhaiza said. The two of them sat down together on the art bench in the middle of the museum's aisle. Tianhaiza looked at the giant fossil of Tyrannosaurus rex and said lightly. Born in the Tianhai family, Yuki is both lucky and unfortunate. Fortunately, she has no worries about food and clothing, and her status is very high. Unfortunately, she cannot have the emotions of a human being and an ordinary person. In the Tianhai family, she must get married in the end. But for someone like her, who can't even take care of her own daily life, who would really like her? It doesn't matter if she is good looking, there are no good looking people in this world, there are too many people there. From my experience, there are many people who hate Yuki. As a member of the Tianhai family, her highest probability in the future is to marry a guy she doesn't love, and then serve as a political tool for the marriage between the two families to maintain the relationship between the two families. Under these conditions, Yuki's own feelings are not important at all. After Tianhaizuli Yulai listened carefully, he asked, but, can't Yuki meet a better person in the future? Tianhaiza laughed. How about you ask Xiaju, what do you think she thinks of your words? If you say to her, Xiaju, you will meet someone better than me in the future, so we can't be together, what do you think she will think? No need to guess. Tianhaizuli Yulai could now imagine what it would be like to hear this sentence. The first reaction is that I cannot accept it. Also, can't let it go at all. To this day, I can't let go of what happened that day. It was he who chose to forgive himself in that situation, and it was he who made himself feel the warmth and sincere feelings again. It is appropriate to feel guilty and grateful. Although this relationship is now split in half by Chi-Chi, she still believes that he really likes her. What's more, he recently made a promise to himself that he would definitely take him to the UK. That was something my mother promised but never did for herself. Tianhaiza laughed. It seems that Xiao also understands that feeling. Being given up and being directly told, you will meet better people in the future, these words will hurt people. Not only happiness disappears and self-esteem will be hit. For Yuki, your rejection is not just a simple rejection. Her emotions are a collection of her experiences for more than 10 years. The child cannot bear such a heavy blow. Tianhaizuli Yulai, Yuki's illness a few days ago. That's right, this is the reason for Yuki's illness. She has been writing songs for you since she came to Hawaii and practicing every day. Then didn't she play it to you a few nights ago? She originally wanted to ask you for a gift. I didn't expect that she would confess to you directly. Of course, she was also rejected. It is natural for you to reject her, and it is also your right to have. I am not very good at evaluating these. After you came to visit the doctor, but Zhigzu has always liked the doll you gave her. Every time I go to visit her, she hugs it, even when she sleeps. I think she thinks there is some warmth in it that belongs to you, right? Tianhaizuli Yulai felt very complicated after hearing this. It was hard for her to imagine that scene. Zhigzu was sick, huddled alone on the bed in the ward, holding a small doll in her arms, feeling just a little bit of warmth that belonged to her from above. In this case, even if someone comes to visit her, she will be extremely happy, right? Tianhaiza, I know that it is very irresponsible to entrust this feeling to you. What the old man wanted at first was to let Yuki have a good family, a family who can take care of her. What happened, this was beyond his expectation. My elder brother probably told you to be careful about me, right? Tianhaizuli Yulai nodded after hearing this. That's right. Sister Zi was sent by Grandpa to help Yuki. That's absolutely right. I definitely want you to promise Yuki. Yuki is not very good at talking and expressing her feelings. She will definitely not be able to defeat Xiaoqi and Xiaoju. As a sister, I can do nothing. Just to help her convey her feelings. Actually, after Yuki fell ill, I thought about it carefully. It's not good to force Yuki on you like this. Her illness is also her own problem, and she should bear it by herself. So I came here this time to talk to you, Xiao. I just want to talk to you. After Yuki gets better, how about you tell her that you can no longer take care of her? In this case, you don't need to care about what the old man said, as long as Yuki agrees. Just do it. This matter can only be decided by you, Xiao. Come and reject her again. Isn't this just a way to catch the snow and leave quickly? Obviously she did nothing wrong. Tianhaijuli Yulai was a little moved after imagining what happened after the situation, and took the initiative to ask. What will happen if I reject Yuki again? This question is very simple, isn't it? I think you also know that Yuki can only go back to Tianhai's house by himself. Is there no other way to get along? Tianhaizi shook his head. If you mean to get along with Yuki as Ling, she will definitely still fall in love with you under your care. But you can't accept her, and Xiaoqi and Xiaju can't. Can she feel better if she is sandwiched between you? It is better to let her go home. So, when her situation gets a little better, you can tell her, and you can also have an explanation for Xiaoqi and Xiaoju. As for the old man, Bien, my eldest brother and I will help you talk. At least the old man can't make things difficult for you. The worst case scenario is that he will just let you move to study abroad together. After saying this, Tianhaizi was quickly called by other students in the class to provide art guidance. Sakaki Hararaku sat in his original position, feeling very complicated. What my aunt said when she came over this time was absolutely correct. Since no one can accept it, let's just give up on Yuki. Yuki can go home on his own, and he will not be able to interfere with everyone's good life in the future. But when he thought about Yuki being driven away, it was impossible for Tianhaijuli Yulai to say that he was not soft-hearted at all. It's like fighting so much with Kyo, but I still have feelings for her in my heart. Well, perhaps. Human feelings are such contradictory existences. On the one hand, I don't want to let go, but on the other hand, the thoughts I once had in my heart will be ignored. After the video conversation with Kyo in the past few days, Tianhaijuli Yulai has a deeper understanding of conflicting feelings. At least she feels that she no longer has the intense feelings for Kyo that she had earlier. The fact is that in reality there is not as much life and death as imagined. As time goes by, the depression in your heart will be temporarily put aside and you will look for better things. Thinking of this, Tianhaijuli Yulai stood up with his hands on his knees. She wanted to talk to Yuki. After walking around the dinosaur hall, Tianhaijuli Yulai didn't find Tianhai's Higsu among the students. I asked Amami Azusa and Sakaki Harasuzu, but they didn't know either. Suzu-chan said she saw Yuki coming just now, and then she said she had to go to the toilet, so she went alone first. Following the clues he got, Tianhaijuli Yulai circled around the Science and Technology Museum again, and finally found Tianhai's Higsu. She stood in front of a large model of Rocket Harvest 8, among the crowd. Tianhaijuli Yulai took 2 steps closer and discovered that what Tianhai's Higsu was looking at was not the rocket, but a family next to the rocket. It seemed like an American family of 3. Father, mother, and little girl. The father bought a maple syrup sorbet at a booth at the exhibition, and the little girl ran to her mother with the maple syrup sorbet. My mother was sitting on the art cushion in front of the rocket model, happily describing the scene in the museum with her sketchbook. Seeing the little girl running over, he gave her a gentle smile. Mom, how are rockets made? Well, what do you think, Elise? Be a good boy and make a wish for Santa Claus, and it will appear in your stocking, just like the toy train Elise made. The mother glanced at the father behind her daughter, hugged her daughter and smiled. This answer is very interesting, But unfortunately that's not how rockets come about. Such a big rocket requires many, many people to work together to build it, and many, many things need to be learned. Knowledge is designed and manufactured by a group of very smart and talented people. They spent a lot of time and energy using scientific knowledge and technology to make rockets a reality. Therefore, rockets are not just like toys. Conjured. I don't really understand. It's okay, how about taking a look at the rocket that Mom drew? Wow! Doesn't it look good? So cool. How about Mommy teaching you how to draw? Good. The little girl said this and sat upright in her mother's arms. She leaned against her mother's body and looked at the lines her mother drew one by one in front of her while holding her in her arms. The little girl named Alice looked at her mother's drawing of the rocket as if she were a treasure. Look at it for a long time. Tianhaijuli Yulai witnessed this scene, and his eyes moved from the perspective of the family to the back of Tianhai's Higsu. The snow of Tianhai is also like the little girl named Alice, looking at it for a long time. Even Tianhaijuli Yulai sighed in his heart when he saw this heartwarming scene. Because once upon a time, my mother taught me this way. Yuki. Tianhaijuli Yulai walked behind Tianhai's Higsu and called her. Tianhai's Higsu didn't seem to hear, but still looked at the little girl sitting in her mother's arms, and listened to the conversation between the two. Yuki Tianhaijuli Yulai knocked on her shoulder and called her again. Raku Amamai no Yuki turned around, raised his eyes, and saw Sakakibara Raku. Sakakihara Raku lowered his voice. No, Yuki forgot what Raku-kun said before? I am Ruri now. Xiaoju weighs joy. That's pretty much it? Xiaoju. What's wrong? Sakakibara Raku saw Tenkai Yuki as if she had something to ask herself. I want to ask Xiaoju something. Sakakihara Raku smiled. Ask. What does it feel like to have a mother? At this moment, Tianhaijuli Yulai was stunned by Tianhai's Higsu. What is it like to have a mother? Juli Yulai couldn't answer, and didn't know how to answer. She just saw her expressionless face on Tianhai's Higsu's face. Probably, it's a very happy thing, right? Is Xiaoju very happy? Me? At least at the beginning, I was very happy. Tianhai's Higsu lowered her gaze, her eyes flashing with a dim light. I have only seen my mother in photos, and I have only seen the words she wrote to me in the diary, in which my mother said a lot of sorry to me. Is it the diary that grandma gave you? Well, my mother said a lot of sorry to me. I often don't know why my mother said sorry to me so much. However, when I am alone, I will often take out the diary that my mother left for me and read it. Tianhaijuli Yulai was not unaware of Higsu's childhood experience, and even knew about her childhood when she had no one to accompany her. In a sense, her deceased mother was the person who grew up with her the most, right? As a relative of Higsu, hearing her talk about this incident would inevitably make her feel more caring. This mentality made Tianhaijuli Yulai question herself, why didn't she care more about her when she first came to the house? What my mother has said the most to me is that she hopes I can be happy. What is happiness, Xiaoju? Are you very happy? Tianhaijuli Yulai thought a lot. I don't know, but I can at least say that I am lucky Yuki. At least there is someone who has not given up on me and will give me something I have never had before. This is what it says. Tianhaijuli Yulai himself couldn't bear it. I still have a very good person who cares about me and gives me warmth. What about the snow? She was even rejected by her greatest happiness now. I recently wrote a song for Le. When I get back, can Xiaoju help me listen to it? I don't know if he will like playing it to Le Do like this, but Le Do gave me a gift, and I will try my best to play the song given to him. I like the gift Le gave me very much. Thank you very much for always being so kind to me. Tianhaijuli Yulai then remembered that Higsu was ill and forgot to play songs for Lejun. Now from her perspective, it was Ellie who took the initiative to give her a gift. How is Yuki feeling now? She should be very, very grateful, very, very grateful. After all, it was Lejun who took the initiative to give it to her. Carrying the purest and most beautiful vision, but never getting a response, I can always go back to the world that only belongs to myself. Thinking of this, Tianhaijuli Yuli's mood became even more complicated. She even felt guilty about her impure purpose in taking care of Yuki. If you can't take care of her from your heart, how can you compare to Lejun's care of her? And what the snow looked like just now reminds her of herself as a child. It's really, really similar. This heavy heart made Tianhaijuli Yuli think about it for a long time. It was not until he took a long breath that he spoke again. When I took care of you before July, did I say anything to you? Xiaoqi? Yes. Tianhai's Higsu said, taking out the Higsu life manual that he always carried with him from his pocket, and turned the last page to Julie Yuli. No matter what happens in the future, you can come to Sister Kyo for help. After seeing the sentence, Tianhaijuli Yuli murmured it. This was written to you in July. Right. Why did July write this sentence to Yuki like this? Tianhaijuli Yuli understood her sister, and when she thought about her own mood just now, she quickly understood why her sister did what she did. No wonder. No wonder Lejun also likes July. I am indeed inferior to her in this aspect. She smiled, which was considered a smile to herself. Yuki, it seems that your sister Liuli is still not as generous as your sister Kyo. I don't understand what Xiaju means. It's nothing, just what I said to myself. How about I write you a sentence too? Although I still take very little care of you, I only took you to go diving yesterday. I had a lot of fun with Xiaju yesterday. Okay, I just did what I was supposed to do. Seeing Tianhai's Higsu nodding, Tianhaijuli Yuli, with complicated emotions, looked under the sentence left by her sister in the life manual. Added another sentence. No matter what happens in the future, you can always come to Sister Liuli for help. In this way, at least there is no need for any impure purpose in taking care of Yuki. Tianhaijuli Yuli thought so. Tianhai's Higsu took the manual again, blinked and said, it's similar to Xiaoqi's. After all, Chi-Chi and I are twins. Can you really ask Xiaju for help? Certainly. Then I want to eat that ice cream now. The one in the little girl's hand just now? Of course, I'll take you to buy it. Tianhaijuli Yuli smiled slightly. How about this, you call me Sister Kyo, how about you call me Liuli's mother? It's so strange, it's obviously Xiaju. Shout, I want to hear it. Mother Liuli. Weird, but not inconsistent. Probably only Higsu would call someone so easily. Forget it. You'd better call me sister. Sister Liuli. Well, that's appropriate. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 359. This restaurant was founded in 1978 by Domenico Gambino, a famous baker from Italy. He brought traditional European pastry and bread making techniques, which can be regarded as injecting fresh blood into Hawaii's food scene. Many people on the internet call him a revolutionary in local pastries. The sea breeze is cool and the sea on the side is a blue seaside restaurant. On the wooden dining table with a holiday atmosphere, Sakihara Suzu held her fork and continued the introduction calmly. But in fact, the history of baking in Hawaii can be traced back to the early 19th century, when European immigrants brought baking techniques to the islands and incorporated local ingredients and flavors into their own baking. In the following decades, the baking industry in Hawaii has developed and expanded, and because of the many immigrants who came here, they have developed their own unique styles and flavors. By the way, Chi-Chi, why do you keep reading this useless knowledge? Didn't I just say that? This store has the information we need. This restaurant has a manual. The manual records a lot of local cultural information that has not been recorded on the internet. Sakaki Harasuzu also picked up a piece of Italian sausage and chewed it slowly. It is said that this is related to a local resident named Rosie Sorensen. She bought bread from Gambia restaurant and kept the packaging bags of these breads and painted various patterns and words on them. Over the years, she has drawn more than 2,000 designs on it, each with a different theme and meaning, including a nod to Hawaiian history and culture, as well as to herself. Before Tian Haikaiminyu could finish her words, she was stuffed with a piece of toast. This made her stunned subconsciously. Eat what you eat. Why is your mouth so broken? Sakakibara took back his hand and said with a smile, the story can tell me so much, why don't you say more interesting and sweet words? Sakaki Harasuzu wiped out all the toast in her mouth in a few mouthfuls, and she returned to her three-faced face as flat as the lake surface. Sweet words are the most boring thing. Men all have thresholds, and they like the new and dislike the old. Before the relationship, I wanted to see each other every day, but after the relationship, I didn't even bother to reply to the other person's line message. What do you mean, women don't like the new and hate the old? I don't know about other women, at least that's not the case for me. By the way, do you still have the toast just now? Raku Sakakibara said in astonishment, how come you have become a little glutton? You have eaten so much, but there must be some toast, but I don't plan to give it to you. My brother is an idiot, that's a fact. You forgot so quickly that I am now the body of one sister Chan? Besides, why didn't you give it to me? Say you like me and I'll give it to you. Tian Haikaiminyu didn't like this at all, and reached out to lift the little green hair beside his ear. Oh, he is a scumbag who relies on coercing women to get sweet words. Let me tell you a fact that will shock you now. As long as you're really surprised, how about you give me your share of toast? Confident and stinky Kyo still uses the same face as a ling. Like a beautiful swan standing proudly on the water with its head held high. Okay, you say, Sakakihara agreed. Well, the place you are sitting under your butt now is the place where the former president of country once Saturday. True and false? Sakakibara immediately sat up and looked at his stool, but didn't find anything special. Then he looked at Chi-Chi's face. Chi-Chi is not just making up stories, is he? I wouldn't go so far for a piece of toast. In 2008, after was elected as the president of country his grandmother Madeline Dunham once took him to this restaurant to dine and celebrate his victory here. This story is also mentioned in his autobiography, Dream Road. Tian Haikaiminyu said, and used her mobile phone to find an excerpt from the autobiography and a picture on the internet. Sakakibara took the mobile phone in her hand and carefully checked the position where he sat, and it turned out to be true. It is indeed the July encyclopedia. Okay, I lose. Sakakibara sat back down and pushed the toast in front of him to her. Thank you, brother. If July was usually a cold and arrogant beautiful swan, then now she is the beautiful swan holding a shelf while eating duck food. This makes people laugh. It may not be appropriate to say that she is eating duck food, but in terms of the speed of eating, it is not comparable to the usual July. While Chi-Chi was eating, Sakakihara Raku began to flip through the cultural manual that Chi-Chi mentioned earlier in the afternoon. There are many cultural and historical pictures about catering. Just from those gray and old photos, messages from various unknown celebrities, and group photos, you can feel the atmosphere of the times in them. Sakakihara flipped through the pages slowly, and soon came to the section about introducing local customs and gods. And saw in it the information he needed to find on this trip, named Kailoia. There is a long list of English equivalents of literature on the text. Sakakihara Raku was a little unsure, so he moved his stool to sit next to Amami Nanami and asked her to help translate. Sakakihara Suzu looked at the English text on the text while eating, and translated it. It is said that in the early 18th century, wars and struggles continued among the tribes of the Hawaiian Islands, that is, the unification war led by Kamehameha, the founder of the Kamehameha dynasty. At this time, a man named Keoloia the god suddenly appeared on the coast of Hawaii. Keoloia was wearing a white robe and holding a white scepter. What was different was that he was shining with blue light, like a mysterious light. The locals were very surprised, but Keoloia did not bring any threat or fear to them. Instead, he sent a message of peace, love, and respect to the people, and with his help, Kamehameha, Ai's father, soon ended the feuding and wars and brought true peace to the land. He united the two tribes. Over time, people in Hawaii began to view Keoloia as a powerful protective deity whose presence brought peace and hope to the people. Every year, people would hold celebrations along the coastline to honor the local Apollichrome stone commemorates the arrival of Keoloia and invokes his blessing. Although Keoloia's sudden appearance did not leave any conclusive historical records, he has been passed down as the protective deity of Hawaii for hundreds of years. People believe that Keoloia's appearance is a gift from God to Hawaii. His presence makes the people on this land more united and peaceful, turning the place into a beautiful and warm home. Sakaki Hararaku sat next to Nanamai and thought seriously. This sounds like a very ordinary fairy tale. Tian Haikaimingu took the fried clams into her stomach in one bite and continued. This is a brief introduction. Brother, you might as well summarize the above content. Sakakibara tapped his index finger on the panel of the wooden table, looked up at the coconut trees in the sun, and said, "It sounds like this god is like a patron saint. His main responsibility is peace and protection." That's right, Tian Haikaimingu took another bite of fried clams and said in a straight voice, "About this god, it is also written below that it is in charge of peace and family. Then it is also written that for thieves and those who have disharmony in the family, the god there will be punishment. Will you be punished?" Sakakibara carefully chewed the last few English sentences in the manual. Regarding the cause of this body swap, Sakaki Hararaku is clear. In essence, it is still an event created by the power of the system, but this limited time event is combined with local culture. To put it simply, the cause can be found in the local culture, and the solution is to study the local culture to find a solution. Relationships are because of family disharmony, so a few people have the setting of body swapping. So that's what happened. Sakakibara secretly took a look at the system tasks. He found that there were already more reminders in the mission. Remind yourself that you have found the punishment. Now you have entered the second stage to find the truth to solve the problem. Sakakibara Raku asked Amamai Nanamajetsu, who was still eating and watching. Is there any method on how to deal with punishment? Unfortunately, sounds of eating, no. You are really good at eating in July. Sakaki Hara gave her a sideways look. Anyway, it's not me who gets fat, I just eat whatever I want. I know I'm afraid I'll be mad at you, but there seems to be a text attached to the article. What does it say? Tian Haikaimingu looked at it carefully. What I'm talking about is that Keoloia also has an island. There are some relics of gods on the island. Usually everyone sacrifices to this island and so on. But since it has been written clearly there is disharmony in the family, so isn't the solution to this problem obvious? So we want our family to be harmonious? I really hope for this, but it's not the god's business, right? When Sakaki Hara said this, he took another look at the progress of the mission. The truth was not reached. Obviously not for this reason. At this moment, Sakaki Hararaku's cell phone rang. It was a message from Tianhai Julie Yulai. She said that she found some information in the museum and could take a look. July. Come see this. What? Sounds of eating, Sakakibara held the phone in front of Nanamai and analyzed the story with her. The amount of information in this document is much greater. The story is very simple. It tells that a long time ago, in a local town, there were 3 families whose leaders were brothers and sisters. But they were obviously brothers and sisters, but the 3 families were fighting constantly. So the gods appeared and took their lives away. The identities are reversed, the younger sister becomes the older brother, and the older sister becomes the younger sister. After a series of stories, these brothers and sisters got back together. During the exchange, everyone learned the strengths of the other, understood their respective situations, and ended the long-standing dispute. Apart from the setting, which was particularly novel for that era, this story has no special features. News came again from line. Tianhaijuli Yulai, picture. Tianhaijuli Yulai, brother, have you seen the picture above? It says, Kyoloja does not just exchange brothers and sisters at will, there will always be envy among them. In order to fulfill everyone's original wish, Kyoloja made an orderly exchange between the brothers and sisters, allowing the family to get back on good terms in the end, and at the same time, everyone learned the advantages that they didn't have in themselves but that they expected after everyone had truly completed their studies. Kyoloja used his divine power to put everything back on track. Tianhaikimingyu carefully read the pictures of cultural relics in the museum that her sister sent her, and analyzed them. It seems that the most important thing is to understand one's original wish. After understanding and obtaining what the other party has, things will get back on track. Sakakibara is happy to say hard. But from the fact that the truth had been found, that the mission had entered the second stage, and that the solution was waiting to begin, he knew that this piece of information was really correct. Primary wish? This statement is a bit like the Buddhist saying. It is similar to the practice of fulfilling the wish at that moment and making the ghost after death become a Buddha. Sakakihara Suzu pondered for a long time and looked at Tenkai Nanamayu. Brother, what wish do you have in my body? I want you to love me hard. Idiot brother, I'm not joking. Tianhaikimingyu was very helpless and spread his hands and said, I don't know either. I like so many things about you in Kyo. If you suddenly ask me what my original wish is, I don't know what it is. If you want to ask a Ling, I know. Some. She is very happy to control Liulai's body now. With breasts and ass, maybe a Ling's wish is to get Liulai's body. Sakakihara Suzu didn't know what to say for a moment. She put down the beef fork in her hand, raised her chin, thought carefully and said, it doesn't matter if you don't know for the time being. At least you have figured out the matter. The condition for exchange is to achieve the original wish that your heart longed for this body at the moment when the body was exchanged. True wish? Tenkai Nanamajetsu suddenly remembered something, stood up and looked at Sakakihara Suzu with her sky-blue eyes, asking. The original wish you mentioned in Kyo refers to the place where you have a longing for Aling. Then you are not. Sakihara Suzu waved her palms, interrupted him as if bored, and said in a deep voice. I told you just now at the beach, I also envy Ling. What I look forward to is the family relationship that you will never give up on Ling, brother. In my opinion, the relationship between us is still a little thin. I haven't gained the comfortable sense of security that my sister Chan has. This should be my original wish. Sakakihara nodded, understood. In July, you just look forward to taking her to do something, right? Apart from taking her out to the night market not long ago, I rarely took Chi-Chi out on dates. I rarely take the initiative to find her. At night she would secretly take off her quilt. Being too proactive led to a lack of trust in her. How about we go on a date now? I'll take you to places you haven't visited here yet. If nothing else, I'm good at making you happy. Sakakihara Suzu gave him a blank look. I can understand my brother's current mood, but you have to look at our current bodies. Are they suitable for a date? It doesn't matter. It's just the appearance of two girls. Dating depends on the soul. Okay, can you keep your mouth shut about my face? Amami Nanamajetsu stared at Sakakibara Suzu for a while, her eyes narrowed. She was instantly deflated and threw her hands in the air. Okay, I surrender. I can't imagine dating a Ling at all. Fool. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tou Lan. Chapter 360. Brother he, brother. What are you doing? You're smiling like an idiot. Brother, you like that fox G Minjio, right? Sakaki Hararaku was a little confused by the hot gaze of his sister, and reluctantly replied, that's right. Then pinch, brother, you are in Chi Minjio's body now, right? Didn't you already know this? Hey. What are you laughing at? By the way, don't smile so obscenely with Liulai's face. Brother, you usually like to look at girls' legs and stuff on your phone, and now you're on July Fox, how can you not? What? Have bad intentions, right? Ah. I know. Brother, you must have touched your body secretly. Wow, that's too bad. Just touching a girl's legs without her consent is such a scumbag. This mocking tone. Sakaki Hararaku really wanted to punch her in the head. After thinking about it carefully, he calmed down and said, I will never accept such malicious speculations without a bottom line. I solemnly state that I have never touched my legs. There was a pause for a few seconds. I only touched my breasts. It's even worse, okay. I'm so annoyed by you. After all, didn't you do something inappropriate to Liulai's body? Bullshit. Of course I don't have any. Do you think I'm blind? I don't know who came to me yesterday holding his own breasts to show off how big he is. People who come here with other people's breasts to show off are the worst kind of guys. It's not like that. I touched my sister's breasts. Can it be considered as doing something inappropriate? Hadash. Tianhaijuli Yulai said, and he deliberately puffed out his chest. Are you a fool? Wolosai, you are the stupid one, Baga. A little. When Suzu Sakaki Hara scolded haha, she did not forget to make a face, change her tone, and draw out her words. Sakakibara looked disgusted. After all, doesn't he look like an idiot? Juliulai's perfect temperament can be interpreted by Aling like a fool. Should he be called a guy worthy of being a real fool? Raku Sakakibara decided not to argue with the idiot because it was pointless. So, why are you coming to see me now? It's rest time, right? Shouldn't you be chatting with your friends? Idiot brother. Of course I came to you for something. As for Tiano and the others, my current identity is Julie Yulai. Although I usually talk to everyone very well, I found that Julie Yulai is actually not talkative at all. Friend. Sakakibara held her chin and thought, well, there's nothing we can do about it. Although Ruri takes good care of ordinary people, when it comes to real contact, her identity and the sense of distance she intentionally or unintentionally puts away from others will be, let others stop there. Brother, why are you acting more and more like a fox in July? You won't have a secret date with her this afternoon, right? Huh, Raku Sakakibara waved his hands with a look of disgust on his face. Kyo is in your body now, and I won't have any interest in characters with no breasts or ass. Ah, hey. That's too much. I wonder who it was that didn't talk to me online every day and made me feel uncomfortable? On the day we met, they hugged me and came to me with a lot of roses. By the way, they even gave me some roses. I got a small card with something written on it, Ashiya Suzuru, it's so nice to meet you. I don't like flat chests either. Asshole, tell me you like it. It started again, a brother and sister quarrel without saying a word or two about the main point. Sakakihara chose not to bother arguing with her and directly changed the topic. Okay, let's get down to business. Why did you come to me? Oh, Sakakihara Suzu agreed and sat down on the edge of the bed. I heard from you at noon, brother, that we can't go back for the time being. That's right. Awesome. What's so great about it? Sakakihara Suzu closed her eyes and put her hands on both sides, like a little idol who got a good deal and behaved well. In the past, there were not as many people looking at me outside, unless they recognized me, but now that I have this body, there are people there every day. Men stare at me. Aling. Although she has a cute face, she would look pretty inconspicuous if she didn't wear some special clothes. After all, she is not very tall and her figure is only that of an ordinary girl. Li Yulai is different from Kyo, she is tall and has a unique temperament. Especially when going to school in China, with blonde hair and blue eyes, she will stand out no matter what. Aling. Except for her eyes, which make her a rare mutant species in the world, and her cute face, she really doesn't have any special features outside. Thinking about it this way, Aling is really not inexplicably happy now. When she switched to Li Yulai, was this considered her original wish? Sakakihara Raku fell into thinking. Seeing that her brother had been pondering in front of the table and chair for so long, Sakakihara Suzuki was so bored that she lay on her side on the bed. She stared at the folds of the white sheets for a while, then raised her head again and faced Sakakibara Raku, who was thinking. Brother, I'm so bored. Go find your friends if you're bored. As I said just now, Sister Li Yulai has no friends. Then you can find Yuki. Little Yuki is being taken around by Sister Li Yulai, and the two of them are playing beach volleyball. It's too tiring to run over to them now, and I don't like sports. July. Sakakibara Suzu's fingers repeatedly pinched the folds of the sheets. July Fox is reading a book, and she and I don't know what to talk about, and you don't think it's weird to talk to your own body? Especially since July Fox still uses it. My face is taunting me. Oh, I can't stand it. Well, it seems that Aling is so bored that she relies on herself. But isn't it more powerful if you use your breasts to taunt July? Sakakihara Raku couldn't complain about this idiot sister. Well, this happens all the time. I have been with Aling for more than 10 years, and I have never encountered a situation where she came to him to relieve her boredom. Brother. Brother Uni-I-chan Nini. I really can't stand you. Don't use that childish tone of voice. Tell me, what do you want to do? Hey. Suzu Sakakihara stood up immediately as if she had succeeded, and crossed her legs on the bed. Actually, that. Say something quickly. How about going out with me, date? Sakakibara wondered if he heard wrongly. Suzu called him to go out. What are you doing? Can I do this with her? Sakakihara Raku fell into confusion. Suzu Sakakihara's eyes were wandering, and she would glance at the person sitting opposite her from time to time. She put her hands between her crossed legs, feeling a little restless. Why? Sakakihara asked. There's no reason, Sakakihara Suzu replied, seemingly still a little angry, and her words were full of anger. You idiot, how can a brother and sister go out and do this together? Hey, now I have to correct you, brother, we are sisters now, sisters, okay. I am your sister, you are my sister. By the way, so now I am ordering you in the name of my sister. Yes. I order you. Sakakihara Raku was completely confused. Ailing, are you stupid? You're not stupid. Then why did you suddenly bring this up? Well, that's not because of me. I already like. Suzu's voice became softer and softer, but Sakakibara already knew what she was going to say next. Probably due to the influence of Liuli's body, Aling became much more dependent on herself. Aling was originally a bitch who relied on her elder brother, and coupled with Liuli's influence. To be honest, she suddenly made such unexpected demands on herself. Although this was unexpected, it was also reasonable. The mood that she had let go of came back to life again. Tian Hai Kaimingyu crossed his arms for a long time, said with an expressionless face and a serious tone. Ling, I've told you about this before, right? And didn't you already understand it before? Let me tell you dash. Baga. Idiot. Only then did Tian Hai Kaimingyu realize that Aling's expression had instantly changed from nervous, shy and timid to pure happy. She was snickering, covering her mouth and snickering. You are joking. Tian Hai Yuli waved his hands in boredom and said with disgust, yes. I just lied to you. Who would expect to go out on a date with a brother who is so familiar to him? What's more, he is still a fox now. No matter how you think about a woman's face, this is impossible, okay? After she finished speaking, she squinted her eyes a few times and said 7 bright moons in the sky and the sea seriously, and then she covered her mouth and snickered. She doesn't have Julie Yuli's usual calm look at all. It's tight, the fist is tight. My heart was beating faster just now, wasn't it? Wow brother, you are so weird, you actually have feelings for your sister. It's so tight, my fists are so tight that I can hardly hold them. Sakakihara walked over directly, regardless of whether she was using Ruri's body or not, just press her head and drill. It hurts, it hurts, it hurts. What a shame. Stop talking to yourself over there and tell us what we are going to do. Anyway, I'll accompany you to relieve your boredom. It's really you who don't have any respect for your brother. Tian Hai Chi Minjiu ravaged her severely and sat back down. Tian Hai Yuli touched his head and looked at her again. Correction. There is still respect. At least the fact that I like Uni-I-chan the most is absolutely unmistakable. In addition, the date I mentioned is not a date. I mean going out for a walk together. Going out together. It's normal and reasonable to go shopping, right? I wish I had just said no. Hey, isn't this fun to tease you, bro? Huh? You agreed? Yeah. Tian Hai Kaimingyu nodded. Really? Did you really agree? Tian Hai Yuli was so surprised that she covered her mouth with her hand, her tone no longer meant to be a joke, and she spoke very seriously. Of course. Tian Hai Kaimingyu nodded very seriously. Okay. It's great to go out together. Wait a minute, I want to go out wearing the same clothes as you. From now on, we are twin sisters. Tian Hai Yuli responded to herself noisily, stood up quickly, put on her sandals and trotted out to the hotel room next door. Sakakihara Raku didn't expect that Suzu would be so happy just to go out alone. Just going out. If she wants to go out with her, she can agree to it. She really loves her sister enough. No, it should be said that Aling has been pampered since childhood. When she was doing homework in the summer, she was so bored that she crawled around in his arms, acted coquettishly, and so on. It was so natural that she was used to it. Occasionally she would lie on the sofa and watch TV, and she would hold a game console and rest it on her belly. This means that he doesn't take the identity of old brother seriously at all. During this trip to Hawaii, I had been alone with Kiju, Zhigzu had also been alone, but I had not been with Aling. There might be some reason why she suddenly proposed this condition, right? However, agreeing to her was not only based on this point, but also on Aling's so-called original wish. While his sister was returning to Juriuri's hotel room to get clothes, Sakakibara took out her mobile phone, found the contact information of July wife online, and sent her a message. Sakakihara Raku, just now, Suzu suddenly asked me to accompany her on a date. I feel that this is related to her inner wish. What do you think of it in July? 5 seconds later, the green bubble you sent showed red. The line July's wife is typing is also displayed at the top of the interface. Bubble popping sound. 7 bright moons in the sky, little shark thinking expression pack. Bubble popping sound. Tian Hai Kaiming Yu, after traveling for more than 10 days, my brother was the only one who never accompanied his sister Zhang, right, my sister and I were latecomers in the past. Most of your energy was spent on interacting with your sister and taking care of her. Now that you are distracted and take less care of her, she will naturally feel a sense of gap and dissatisfaction. Sakakibara quickly tapped the phone screen with July's slender hands and replied. It seems that Chi-Kyo also thinks that this is related to Aling's wish. In fact, when Aling raised this question to me just now, I was wondering if what Aling envied was my daily care for Li Yulai. That's why she went into Li Yulai's body, but she couldn't tell for sure. Aling seemed to like Li Yulai's body very much, and she would show off how good her figure is now and how big her breasts are. Tian Hai Kaiming Yu, little shark raised his sign with a very dissatisfied expression. Tian Hai Kaiming Yu, he came to my place to show off no less than 10 times. Seeing the cute emoticon sent by Kyo and the dissatisfied tone, Sakakibara immediately thought of Kyo's expression and mood now. Aling ran over and provoked Chi-Chi no less than 10 times. Then Chi-Chi must be left speechless to death? The two are really enemies. Sakakihara laughed again at the phone screen, tapped the screen with both hands, and continued to reply. Actually, I quite like this atmosphere now. If possible, I would like you to get along well with Ailing in the next 7 months. Of course, since Ailing is such a stinker, I will also preach to her. Tian Hai Kaiming Yu, brother, when did you become so polite? I don't hate my sister Chan, but I am amused by her performance in front of me. Who doesn't like to see a wonderful clown performance? Sakakibara smiled again. If Suzu heard what you said, she will definitely want to attack you again. Tian Hai Kaiming Yu, when were you ever afraid of her? Yes, that's the atmosphere. Everyone bickered, but remained friendly, listening to everyone's teasing and small complaints between a few people. Life suddenly becomes more dynamic. Fighting every day can really make people feel depressed and tired. Sakakihara Rakuto sometimes inadvertently wonders if it would have been better if he had not dated Rurikyo in the first place. As relatives, we are a completely happy family. This is the kind of life Sakakihara Raku has always liked. Although it was a bit of an afterthought, now I have had fun in dating. Brother! Brother! Tian Hai Yulai rushed into the door in a panic. After Sakakibara casually replied to Kyo and chatted again, he looked up at Amamai Kuruori, who was carrying a blue dress at the door. Why are you so flustered? He. Tian Hai Yulai had a wicked smile on her face. She turned her back to the door and quietly closed the door like a criminal thief. What do you want to do? Tian Hai Kaiming Yu felt that she had bad intentions. Brother, you've become a girl, so you still don't know how to take care of yourself, right? You don't know how to put on makeup either. This is no good. Chi-Chi will be unhappy when she sees it. How about I help you change clothes? Let me teach you some knowledge that only girls know. Ah. By the way, it's been 2 days since you changed your July body. You haven't changed your fat yet, have you? How can this be done? Girls have to change it every day, not to mention that you came to your aunt last night. Even if it's not stained with blood, you also need to change it. Let me help you change it, how about? You, don't come over here. Tian Hai Kaiming Yu saw Tian Hai Li approaching slowly with a smile, subconsciously stood up and kept moving back. Brother, Ani-chan, don't refuse. Changing clothes is really, really fun. Where is the fun? Dress yourself beautifully and attract attention wherever you go. Just like a star, enjoy the attention of everyone. You will also become super confident. I don't need confidence as a woman. Tian Hai Kaimingyu was gradually forced to the balcony door, and the door was closed. She saw Tian Hai Yuli approaching and reached out to open the balcony door at the back, but found that she couldn't reach the door. Tian Hai Li is getting closer and closer. No need. Who knows? Everyone doesn't like beautiful girls dressing up. Ani-chan, don't you often like to see those maid outfits and Lolita outfits? You like those things, don't you also like that? What a beautiful feeling. Now you can experience this feeling for yourself, isn't it super perfect? Super comfortable. Tian Hai Yuli carried the clothes, smiled and talked, getting closer and closer. In the eyes of 7 bright moons in the sky and the sea, this is a fallen angel, a naked fallen angel. Don't come over here, or I'll hit you. Hit me? Haha brother, I'm afraid I've forgotten that you now have the body of a fox in July, you are extremely weak, and I am now Sister Li Yuli. Tian Hai Kaimingyu tried hard to pull the balcony lock, but it couldn't move. Snapped. Her hand was held by Tian Hai Li, who was smiling. Sakakihara tried for most of the day, but found that he couldn't break free no matter what. July. Why are you so weak? Yeah, meow, I can't run away. What on earth do you want to do? I am your brother, please see clearly. Aha, you are my sister now. Quick, take off your clothes. Take them off. Sakakihara took the opportunity to punch her in the head. It hurts, it hurts. Your sister is too violent. Stop doing this to me. Your brother will always be your brother. Sakakibara Suzu touched her head, it's really violent, but to be honest, brother, you really need to change your clothes? Wearing them for a long time will affect your health. This Sakakibara Raku couldn't refute. And didn't you ask me to change your clothes in July? Now it's just me changing your clothes. Fine. Sakakihara Raku could only agree. That's right. Now it's time for the awesome sisters to dress up. You guy, don't say such shameful lines. Come on, it's my first time for you to change clothes, brother. Yes. That's it. Siha, your figure is perfect. Why are you so shy? Aling, you guy. Still drooling. Sakakihara Raku was almost speechless. If I change it back, I'll kill you. Girl, don't talk about beatings and killings all the time. It affects your image. Lift your feet quickly and I'll help you put them on. I'm warning you, don't attack your chest. I know, because this will make Uni-chan blush, right? He, don't be Uni-chan. You are my sister, she is super cute, and she will take good care of you. Stop it. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 361. To be honest, going out to the mall with his sister was the last thing Sakakihara Raku wanted to do before. Not that going out with her was that annoying. But this guy has to dress up every time he goes out, arranging his hair, changing clothes, and putting on light makeup. This kind of thing is too time-consuming. Now she still does this to herself, and even puts on eyeliner while singing. It really makes people feel irritable. Let me tell you, are you ready? Oh, don't worry, Uni-chan is going out as a younger sister for the first time, so of course she has to dress up beautifully, just like her sister. Even if you hum a song, do you really think of you as your sister? 7 bright moons in the sky and the sea sat in front of the mirror, folded his hands on his chest, closed his eyes, and his forehead beat. I am your brother. Okay. Oh brother, no, I applied too much eyeliner. You're so mean in your words. As expected, if it were the other way around, I'd still kill you. I told you that girls shouldn't fight all the time. Let me see how my sister is doing with her eyeliner. Tianhai Julie Yulai stood behind Tianhai Kaimingyu, straightened her head towards the mirror, then looked left and right at the girl in the mirror, looking carefully. Perfect. Stand up and take a look at your clothes. Brother, you changed your skirt just now and you didn't show me your whole body. Dot. Hurry up, please stand up and look at me. I'm really impressed with you. Hee, come on, come on. Tianhai Kaimingyu was pulled by her sister to the mirror in the hotel bathroom. Look. What's so good about this? Sakakibara was reluctant, but couldn't stand his sister's repeated tricks, so he still looked in the mirror. The two beautiful girls in the mirror are wearing the same style of sky blue dresses. The facial features are equally delicate and straight, the shoulders are equally exposed, and the clavicle under the fair neck is also slightly exposed. The two pairs of slender legs were gently staggered and slightly curved. The milky white thigh skin was delicate and clean without any roughness. Sister and sister have identical faces next to each other, and their silky transparent flaxen hair hangs behind their ears, exuding a sense of youthful vitality. Hee, don't the twins look good? Sakakibara Suzu hugged the thin white arms of Tenkai Nanamayu. It looks good, but this is Kyo and Liulai's body. Really, I don't understand you. Do you need to be so happy? Brother, you are so annoying. You are not outspoken at all. You obviously think you are beautiful, right? Hey, that's definitely the case, right? Stop talking nonsense. Get out of here. Walking down the street in Hawaii, on the way to the shopping mall. This girl, Suzu Sakakihara, has been humming back and forth. And then she didn't forget to hold her hand while humming. It's like they are real sisters. Sakakihara Raku felt a little embarrassed when she was so close to him while walking on the roadside. I'm telling you, you guys, don't really think of yourself as Liulai. No, now that I, Sakakihara Suzu, am Ruri's sister's lover, I naturally have to imitate her perfectly. I will try my best to show the side of Tenkai Kururi outside. What part of your performance is perfect? What part of your performance is perfect? Don't repeat a sentence twice. It's so scary that your lovely sister Chan will cry. I don't know which guy just called herself sister. But if someone cries, I'd be happy to see it. Cut. Suzu Sakakihara was disgusted with her face and protracted her tone, then hugged her arm, turned around and whispered, I don't know which idiot brother couldn't help but ran over to me when he saw me crying and said, don't cry, brother. Are you going to prepare some delicious food for you? Tianhai Kaimingyu said disdainfully. I don't know which guy slept with his brother at night, so he hugged him and acted like a baby, and kept shouting, Ani-I-chan, come together, come with me to sleep. What's that word called? Yes, brother control. Aling, you are just a little girl who cries when you leave her brother. I thought you were pitiful, so I went over to comfort you. Suzu Sakakihara's expression suddenly became extremely pitiful, and she pulled the arm of Amami Nanamajetsu and motioned her to look at him. What are you doing? Idiot sister is acting like a spoiled brat again. No, I'm really going to cry now. Come and comfort me. Are you stupid? Suzu Sakakibara maintained her pitiful expression, shook her arms, and said coquettishly, with a hint of crying, Uni-chan. Ani-I-chan. Ouni-chan. Suzu Sakakihara could no longer perform, so she immediately threw away his arm, restored her original appearance, and dusted her skirt symbolically. TCH, you have no sympathy at all. You don't have any love for such a lovely sister. She is obviously the ultimate sister-in-law. She has to set all passwords to my birthday. Tisk. Ah hey. Brother, You smacked your lips just now, right? Absolutely. There were no plans for this trip, so Sakakibara basically let Suzu lead the way. On the way to the shopping street, there was almost noisy bickering. After Sakakihara Suzu arrived at the mall, she finally stopped talking and looked left and right at the surrounding shops. What Aling said was to go shopping with her. Naturally, I would accompany her to buy clothes. You all have come to Hawaii, why don't you buy some clothes to go back to? I have to buy some for everyone. She said she was kind, but in fact she was using her brother as a model fitter. Everything was put on Sakakihara Raku's body. Daily, casual, fashionable. Seeing the cheongsam, Sakakibara Suzu asked Sakakihara Rakia to try on the cheongsam too. It's really unbearable. Even with the body of Tenami Nanami now, wearing a girl's skirt is already the limit of Sakakibara Raku's endurance, and Suzu actually wants to wear that high-cut cheongsam herself. What? What do you want to do? Raku Sakakihara walked out of the locker room with a dark face and his hands in his pockets. This time he was wearing a Japanese Korean-style beige hooded sweatshirt and casual velvet pants. It's pretty cool, Suzu Sakakibara commented, holding her chin and turning her head slightly, it's just a bit neutral and not cute enough. Ah, I get it. The sweater needs to be one size larger, and only half of the hands can be exposed. Outside, she looks very petite and cute like that. Sakakibara put his hands in the pockets of his sweatshirt and tried hard to calm down. It's been 2 hours since I changed my clothes, and you didn't even buy a set of clothes? Are you treating me like a dress-up doll? Not good. What a ghost. Sakakihara Suzu held her clothes, smiled, and had her own explanation. Brother, you have finally become a girl. How can you do it without experiencing it more? It would be a pity if you don't experience it all. Do you know how many boys there are in this world? Is it too late to become a girl? Brother, you have to cherish it. Don't do this with me. Aren't you treating me like a dress-up doll to play dress-up games with you? Oh, 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 it's all the same, just ask me if you think you are beautiful. Brother Suzu Sakakihara hung up a pair of women's cropped pants back in place. Meow. This is July's body. I should say July is beautiful. Sakakibara held it in for a long time before he said the sentence. Because it's the body of my girlfriend that I like very much, so no matter how I look at it, I'll like it very much, right? And because I'm accompanying my girlfriend, I won't feel bored for as long as I stay with her, right? These words sounded inexplicably sour. Sakakibara looked up at Sakakibara Suzu and found that she was looking back at him with the same eyes. Just looking at each other quietly. Sakakihara Raku clearly felt the change in the atmosphere. Although she was semi-forced to change her clothes by her younger sister, as she said, this time she went out to play with her. When I traveled to Hawaii, everyone accompanied me alone, but I never accompanied Aling. Thinking of this, Sakakihara Raku doesn't want to complain now about her forcing him to change into women's clothes and try on clothes. I know. I really can't do anything to you. What should I change into the next piece of clothing? Idiot brother. He is indeed a sister controller. When I see my sister is a little sad, I can't help but care about her. Yes, I am a sister controller, a pure sister controller. I am always proud to have you as my sister. Every time I see you on the TV screen and listen to your voice actor radio drama, as a brother I will feel sincerely for you. Pride. Is that all? Idiot, is this not enough? If I say something, it's not enough. Can you tell me more? Still want to listen? Sakakihara thought carefully. Of course, I also really like it when you hold my hand and rock me while acting coquettishly. I also like it when you lie on my belly and play game consoles in the summer. I also like it when you are always bickering with me. Ah, her feet are also quite cute, she is always dangling on the bed, and I always want to scratch the center of her feet just looking at her. Ah, it's recorded. Sakakibara realized something was wrong. Recording what? What was recorded? Suzu Sakakihara raised her phone, and there was a 2-minute recording on it. Her originally sad expression suddenly burst into laughter. Brother's perverted sister has spoken. I said, you guy, get it quickly. I won't give it to you. Believe it or not, I will kick you away. I'm not lying. I was really sad just now. No matter how I look at it, you are just pretending. That's too much, Nini, you actually don't trust your sister. I'm your own sister who has grown up wearing the underwear you wore since she was a child. Asshole, don't talk nonsense, there is no such thing. It's okay to begin with, my mother put it on for me. Then you blame mom. Oh, let's not talk about this anymore. Brother, come and take a look at this little dress. It looks very suitable for Kyo, you. Unlike Kyo and Liulai, when going out with Aling, they are always noisy. Occasionally the bickering was fun, but occasionally it would accidentally poke her where she was sad. As an elder brother, Sakakihara Raku really didn't want to make her cry, so he coaxed her for a long time. If she didn't try to coax her, she would be even more sad, and she would look very pitiful. Most brothers would let their sister cry anyway, but Sakakibara Raku would not do this. This was one of the reasons why he felt that the relationship between him and Suzu was particularly good. Both brothers and sisters will come out to understand each other when they are sad. I bought 7 pieces of clothes. According to Aling, she bought 1 piece for everyone as a gift for this school trip. Didn't you say that you don't have a good relationship with Kyo and Liulai? Why did you go out of your way to buy them gifts? Brother, you really have a half-assed memory. Well, didn't you say it before? Although I have had conflicts with the 2 foxes, in essence, we are still a family. Sister Liulai bought me clothes, Chi Moon Fox helped me with my work, and during the trip, they would give me a share of whatever they had to eat. The opposition between me and them is only based on their attitude towards you, brother. Speaking of this, Sakakihara Raku wanted to ask Sakakihara Suzu. Ailing, do you think I am not wrong in this matter? There's something wrong. Why isn't it? But, brother, aren't you forced out by their feelings? You clearly agreed to Liulai and didn't want to disobey her at all, but you are still emotionally tied up by the story of July Fox. Brother, you are so distressed. It has made everyone's relationship very complicated. Everyone's starting point is correct. Oh, this is not a commonplace thing? What's there to talk about? Anyway, I support you, brother, that's right. Thanks. You are so polite that you don't look like brother and sister. At this time, you shouldn't have said, asshole Aling, why are you pretending to understand me, like this, saying this to me in a particularly soft tone. Sakakibara smiled, you bastard Suzu, why are you pretending to understand me? Ah. I asked you to say it and you really said it? How can I put it this way? I feel like it's quite cute to be arrogant once in a while. Well, brother, look what your lovely sister is carrying in her hand. Sakakihara Suzu shook the bag full of clothes in her hand. Sakakihara Suzu continued to smile, Naya. Bag. Ah. Why haven't you expressed it yet? Did I indicate it clearly enough? Idiot sister buys her own gifts and carries them herself. Asshole brother, you don't feel sorry for my sister at all. Sakakihara Raku stole a glance at Sakakihara Suzu. Although it was Ruri's face, Suzu's expression was really reflected on the surface. He stretched out his hand and waved to her. Bring it here. Really? Your brother, haven't I always played the role of a coolie? Don't pronounce this tone with the face of a July fox, it's so weird. You still use my girlfriend's face to pronounce my sister's tone. Why don't you say it? Hee brother, your girlfriend's body is really useful. Cut the nonsense. Stop and go along the way, noisy and non-stop. The sisters took photos of their faces together, played claw machines together, and rode the merry-go-round together. Then they went to the street to eat some snacks and experience a two-player VR game together. In this Hawaiian island city, I saw muscle cars, pickup trucks, and coconut trees. I've seen passers-by swimsuits, holiday shorts, Hawaiian grass skirts, and aloha shirts full of bright patterns. Although I didn't have enough time, I was able to fully explore this area through the entire experience. When it was almost time to go back, Aling still didn't have enough fun and said she wanted to go to the amusement park to play some more time. But there was not enough time, so Sakakibara had no choice but to take Aling to a roadside barbecue stall and treat her to a barbecue. Real or false? Brother, are you treating me to a treat? Nonsense. When she heard that her brother wanted to treat him, she was so happy that she felt like she had gone back a few years. There wasn't a lot of money back then. Pocket money is also limited. The brother and sister often argue with each other over who pays for an extra bottle of Coke. Of course, it was a joke kind of argument. At that time, when Aling heard that she wanted to treat her to a meal, let alone at home, even if she was chatting with friends, she had to fly out to spend her pocket money. Therefore, when Raku Sakakibara saw that Suzu was still the same as a few years ago, he felt extremely nostalgic. The conscious picture in his mind even extended further, and he saw Ling, who was 5 years old, who was in elementary school, and who was rebellious in junior high school. These times accumulate one by one. Sure enough, is this what companionship feels like? Tianhaijuli Yulai devoured kebabs and grilled sausages. Fireworks were rising from the charcoal fire on the roadside. Really, you are ruining Liulai's image outside like this. What's wrong? Sister Liulai is just not approachable. I'm just fine like this. Raku Sakakibara was affected by Julai's health, so he could only eat some light-flavored skewers, and not much. So most of the time, I just watched her eating with a straight face. Belle. You rarely call me Lingai directly. Do you want me to feed you? Sakakihara Suzu made an expression like she was looking at a fool. You're not kidding me, are you? Her eyes said so. Sakakihara expected her current expression, of course not. You have been so happy in Liulai's body recently, and you suddenly asked me out. How could I not have guessed what you were thinking? It was quiet for a while. Tianhaijuli Yulai laughed and waved his hand. Brother, you are just guessing. Sakakihara Raku did not refute, but continued quietly. Just now we bought 2 cups of coconut juice on the roadside and sat on the street to watch the pigeons. Aling, you always lean towards me, even on the roadside. You always lean towards me to feel very close. What's the point? You are my sister now, and I am your sister. Of course we can be so close. Aling, can you tell me now that you are in Liulai's body? What are your real thoughts? Tianhaijuli Yulai stopped eating barbecue. She was quiet for a while, took a tissue from the side, wiped her mouth, and looked at the beach not far away that was wet by the waves. Prefer not to say. Why? Tianhaijuli Yulai smiled brightly. Isn't this an obvious thing? What's the use if I say it? Yes, saying it won't change anything. The atmosphere suddenly became heavy. It was so heavy that the two of them remained silent together, listening to the sound of the waves in silence for a long time. Brother, I feel so lucky and yet so pitiful. You tell me, I'll listen. I don't want to say that you don't know. Well. Indeed, how could he not understand what Aling was thinking? In fact, By now, there are countless boys who have confessed to Aling. Every time Aling refused in a very serious manner. The real reason why she could refuse every confession so seriously, regardless of her identity, was that she had no interest in those guys at all. Sakaki Hararaku found that Tenkai Kyori had become very dissatisfied. Is there something wrong with me? It's not your fault, Aling. Whose fault is that? Mine. You just took care of me. What did you do wrong? Taking too much care of you. That's what happened. Asshole. Sakakibara didn't object at this time. You bastard, Tianhaijuli Yulai scolded in an unusually low voice. He didn't eat the meat and lowered his head. I can't get married in the future. Maybe you'll meet someone better. Who can be as bad as you, a bastard? Aling. I know, you are going to start that long psychological enlightenment again. I know, of course I know it, and I am tired of hearing it. But knowing that I know, I still can't get over it. Please let me put it down. Damn it. How can I let it go after taking care of it for more than 10 years? The situation reached an impasse. But it's not like I don't understand these things. Tianhaijuli Yulai continued in silence, you stayed with me for so long this afternoon. I'm really, really happy. In the past year, you have been with me all the time. Kiju and the others finally moved out, and more than a month later, you went back again. I know you are soft-hearted, and I know you are a kind person, but... Tianhaijuli Yulai hugged his head. Seeing her appearance, Sakakihara couldn't bear it, but he was helpless. It was quiet for 5 minutes. Call. Tianhaijuli Yulai took a deep breath and slowly raised his head again. To sum up, you are just a bastard. If it were Chi Minjiojuli Yulai, I would call you a bastard and a bastard. Then scold more, as long as you feel comfortable. Again, it's not that I don't understand my own identity, so I really don't want anything. These days, only during this period of time, I hope I can be happy. Sakakibara sounded quite upset, because Isuzu was giving herself psychological counseling again. Just these few days, okay. I hope I can do Julie Yulai once. Can. Promise. Promise. That's it, why can't you agree? It's not like you don't understand, Aling. I also understand that I can help you be happy. In fact, I am also helping myself. That's it. Let's not talk about this anymore. Be happy. Tianhaijuli Yulai said, as if he was hiding something, he started to eat hungrily. Sakakihara looked at her quietly from the side. Tianhaijuli Yulai suddenly stopped. There's something else I have to tell you. What? I never planned to get married in my life. Belle. Don't try to persuade me, it's my own decision. You will make yourself miserable for the rest of your life. That's it, don't get married, it's as simple as that. When my mother came to persuade me, I said the same thing. Anyway, I plan to be an idol in the future. If an idol doesn't get married, wouldn't it fulfill the fans' wish? Everyone hopes that I don't get married. Then I won't get married, yes, I won't get married. Belle. Asshole, don't persuade me. Advising me will only make you even more of an asshole. If you say no, you will not marry. There are so many guys who live alone in this era. I am not much. It doesn't matter. It's that simple. After Tianhaijuli Yulai said this, he no longer looked at the expression of Tianhai Kaimingyu opposite him, and just kept stuffing things into his mouth. Still lowering his face, he kept eating as if to cover up some noise. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 362. Even in tropical Hawaii, the summer breeze blowing in the evening is still slightly cool. Kebab sizzle on the grill of a roadside stall, filling the air with the aroma of seasonings and meat skewers. Sakeki Hararaku smelled the aroma, but he never had much appetite. He just watched silently as Tenkai Kuruori directly opposite him grabbed the meat skewers and bit off the meat on the iron stick one after another. He ate quickly and silently. Sakakibara was happy to see that the food in front of her was almost finished, and asked the American uncle who was doing the barbecue in English for some more American barbecue. "What are you doing? Give me more. Do you want to strangle your girlfriend to death?" Her voice was very low and slightly choked, and her gaze gave people the impression that she was secretly watching. Sakeki Hararaku was really worried about her looking at him, and would secretly wipe her tears while looking at her. What she said in the afternoon was really right. It's the worst thing to see her cry. "Seeing that you are sad, I will give you some more food." "You bastard, all you want to do is give me food." "It's definitely more than that." "What?" I said, "It must be more than that. We will go to the amusement park later." Tianhaijuli Yulai was quiet for a while, in disbelief. "What?" Sakakibara repeated seriously. "I said, let's go to the amusement park later. Didn't a certain guy just keep saying he wanted to go?" After a certain guy heard this, he started to poke the barbecue in the bowl in front of him with an iron pick, and muttered in a low voice, "Didn't you just say that it was too late and you didn't want to go?" Raku Sakeki Hara responded directly to her gaze, "It was because it was already 1 o'clock, and I had to take roll call tonight. Now, I won't go to roll call." "What have you decided to say to teacher Daojeng?" "How can I say this? Just say it clearly." "I am spending time with my girlfriend and have no time to go back." "It sounds like a bad guy." "Teacher Daojing probably thinks it's impossible for you to say such things." "Ling, people will always do things that surprise others. No one can avoid it. And I am in July now. This thing will turn around and make July take the blame. So, do you want to go together?" Tianhaijuli Yulai poked the flesh a little harder, and the muttering became more obvious. "Does this count as you inviting me?" "That's right." "Did you really invite me?" "Don't want to go." "Go." Tianhaijuli Yulai immediately raised his head to respond, but soon stirred the hair hanging by his ears with his hands, and said a little uneasily, "Of course I want to go. Although you are using the face of the July fox now, I will still try to imagine you as the bastard you usually are." At this time, Ling was like a little girl who wanted to say yes but was afraid of saying yes. She was suddenly invited out without any preparation. Flustered, confused, without any idea. Sakakibara knew that he should be more proactive at this time, and take the initiative to help her ease the difficult-to-resolve mood in her heart. He took the initiative to smile and said, "Does that mean we'll wait until you finish eating, or should we leave now?" "Of course I have to finish eating, but can you feed me?" "Oh, of course. Of course it's not that I expected this in my heart, it's just." "No." "Huh? What kind of stingy guy didn't you just say you wanted to feed me? Why did you suddenly change your mind?" "Sakeki Hararaku, when I say it's not good, I mean your tone is not good. What is your current status?" Tianhaijuli Yulai hesitated for a moment, tried to ask, "Girlfriend? Can you be a little more confident, idiot?" "Asshole. You are the idiot, Baga." Sakakibara was happy to see her angrily replying to him, and the smile on his face became even wider. "That's right. Don't be sad all the time. What I like most is bickering with you, Aling. It's so fun and happy." "Well, you know how happy you are. There is someone at home who can quarrel with you. In the past, someone would stare at the dark clouds every day in the rain. There was no one to chat with, no one to talk to, and other girls' hands. I've never held a guy like that before, let alone how lonely he is. Also, Don't say this with the face of a July fox. It's super weird, okay? Unintentionally said, angrily stuffing another piece of beef into his mouth. She seemed to be afraid that her tone just now was harsh, and she glanced at Sakakibara from time to time like a kitten worried about making a mistake. Although this shows that she cares about herself, in Sakakibara's view, it is unreal. When did the belle become like this? In the past, she had always been such a heartless and carefree person. So stinky, so flamboyant, and so arrogant. The more he sensed the changes in Suzu from childhood to adulthood, the more Sakakihara Raku felt that his sin was serious. A lot has changed in July. Liulai has also changed a lot. Even the belle has changed. In fact, the snow of snow has changed too much. Everyone has an unhappy childhood and an incomplete family. Everyone needs love, someone who can completely trust each other to walk through life together. Support each other, encourage each other, grow with each other, talk to each other about their emotions, and listen to each other's voices in the repeated daily ups and downs. When you feel down, you can get a warm embrace from the other person, and you can close your eyes and feel her/his soft words and comfort in your ears. You can get infinite support and infinite love from her/him. For such things, there will be infinite motivation in my heart to move forward. Sakakihara Raku feels that the so-called lover with whom he can marry is nothing more than that, right? And among the four people, no matter who they are, they all have this mentality towards themselves. Sakakihara Raku said, how could this be possible without feeling heavy? Of course, while it was heavy, there was still an idea in my heart that I wanted to carry these emotions hard. I'll feed you. Sakakihara carefully inserted a piece of roasted mutton and slowly brought it to her mouth. When their eyes met, he slowly opened her mouth, and then put the crispy lamb roasted on the fork into her little mouth. Tianhai hesitated for a while, and finally took a bite with his eyes closed. Is it delicious? Do you want to feed me more? Yummy. But no, no more. Why? Because you are half a July fox now. Feeding me like this will cause my memories to overlap. It's too weird. Fine. Sakakihara Raku didn't force it, but sat across from her and waited patiently for her to finish her food. I'm done eating. So fast. Of course. Don't you see who I am? Well, I'm going to the amusement park now. Of course, I'll talk to teacher Daojing now. Sakakibara took out his mobile phone and directly found the contact information of Mr. Daojing in the contact directory, and then sent her a message saying Chi Minjiu has to accompany her sister at night, so she will not go back as her own identity. Without looking to see if teacher Daojing had any reply, Sakakibara directly faced Tenkai Kyuri. Are you done talking? That's it? Now is the time to go to the amusement park. That's right. Sakakihara Raku stood up immediately and was about to grab Tenkai Kyuri and walk back together, preparing to go to the amusement park in the center of Sandalwood. Tianhai was still a little coy, and she felt a little embarrassed when her hand was suddenly held. While looking for a taxi on the roadside, Sakakibara kept asking in his ear, are you really going? Her repeated questioning stemmed from her inner uncertainty and uneasiness. Of course, I do what I say. Sakakihara patiently replied to her again and again. In the end, Tenkai Kyuri was embarrassed to continue asking. The two got into a taxi together. Hawaii's city streetscape flickers outside the car window with lights, sunsets, and tourists depicting the evening dusk. Sakakibara Raku has always been paying attention to Tenkai Kyuri around him. She, who was originally quite outspoken, said nothing at this moment, pursed her lips, and clasped her hands on her skirt with great force. Are you nervous? Sakakihara asked. Well, it's a little bit, but it's no problem, no problem. Sakakibara looked at her face again, you're almost sweating on your forehead, just a little. This, this is really just one thing. I promise you won't be a little hasty or anything. What's sloppy? Tianhai Yuli's eyes kept drifting, and his hands moved unconsciously. That's right. That's right, I've never done this kind of thing before. I just went out. It was the first time I went out on a date. Wouldn't it be a little sloppy? Like this. Sakakibara remembered that Ruri was like this when she went out on a date for the first time. She also specially changed herself into a set of very beautiful new clothes, and braided her hair into a princess braid, making herself more exquisite and beautiful than before, and then she was willing to go out with her. Ling. This is the mentality now. Sakakibara laughed and said, did you look like you were eating and drinking so much that it affected your makeup? Image. Both. Tianhai Yuli replied, and don't you think it's strange? The first time I went out on a date, I actually used Julie Yuli's body, and you used Chi Minjio's. No matter how you look at it, it's weird, it's so weird. Okay. No, no, I have to get off the car. Tianhai Yuli panicked and immediately wanted to use English to signal the driver in front to stop. Sakakibara quickly reached out to stop her. Why are you suddenly scared? How about I change the day? Really, how about another day? This is too weird. Sakakibara refused to give up and said with a smile, didn't Suzu say that the important thing is the mind? The body is just a medium. As long as we can understand each other's mood, physical contact is secondary. That's what I said, but when I think about dating July Fox, I get so scared. Then I don't care, I promised you to come, so you must respond to me. Alright. Also, you don't need to call me by my previous name. You can call me Ellie or Ellie. Then. Ellie. Yaraku Sakakibara opened his eyes, say what you like and let me hear it. Be bastard. Who can say this? Hey, didn't you just look like you were going to cry because you still couldn't be your girlfriend? Who said I was going to cry? That's why I didn't cry. Come here. Sakakibara approached her and extended his hand. What are you doing? Tianhai Yuli was forced to lean towards the window, very scared. Have you forgotten your current identity? Isn't she your girlfriend? Since we are your girlfriend, shouldn't I take care of you? Okay, be obedient and sleep close to me. It's still more than 20 minutes drive to the city center. Sakakibara Raku said, patting his thigh. Tianhai Yuli looked like she wanted it but didn't dare to ask for it. While hesitating, she seemed to have made up her mind. What's wrong with that? Then she fell directly onto Sakakibara Raku's lap, looking up. It felt a bit familiar, but what appeared in his sight was Chi Minjio's face. Tianhai Yuli's expression suddenly became deflated. It's indeed quite strange. Don't care about these details, you think I want to? Hey. What if you treat me so well with this body and I fall in love with Kyo? Falling in love with Kyo? That's fine, just let her help you share your feelings. Bastard old, bastard LLE, how can love be so simple? Isn't it your request? Tianhai Jululi buried her face into Tianhai Chi Minjio's thigh, smelled the fragrance of green apples, and said coquettishly. Don't listen, don't listen, don't listen. I'm going to take a nap, call me when it's time. No problem. Sakakibara also touched her hair with his hands. Although it was glass, it still felt like touching a bell. There is one thing Sakakibara Raku must admit. This is indeed strange. Asterisk. When we arrived at the water playground in the city center, it was brightly lit and people were coming and going. Countless entertainment facilities light up the night. There are huge cartoon characters, huge cartoon word signs, and pastry models and donut models on the roof that are bigger than the last. The transparent windows are either filled with cakes or filled with various travel crafts. Standing in front of this giant water playground, everyone has a grand feeling of seeing a magic castle. It seemed that I suddenly became very small. As soon as she arrived here, stars appeared in Aling's eyes. Especially the huge cartoon bunny that can wave. Aling thinks it is super cute. Sakaki Hararaku took 2 marshmallows from the small stall and walked over, hiding the cotton behind her, standing next to her, looking up at the huge cartoon rabbit. Are you feeling happier? Yeah, barely. What about now? Sakaki Hara took out the marshmallows. Well, I'm a little happier now. Tianhaijuli Yulai took the marshmallow and took a bite, leaving a sweet taste in his mouth. But it still feels weird to say this to July Fox. Just asking if you feel that I am taking care of you. This is still available. The first item in the amusement park was the roller coaster that Aling had loved since she was a child. Although this girl has never sat down before, she had no money at first and no time later. After buying their tickets, they queued up for a long time. Just before the roller coaster was about to start, the 2 of them sat in the first row. Hand. What hand? Give me your hand. Look how nervous you are. Tianhaijuli Yulai, this is called excitement, isn't it exciting? It's my first time riding a roller coaster. Oh, by the way, Ali, you have said you would take me on a ride since you were a child, but you have never come true. Have it? You bastard, you really forgot. The good impression I had on you just now is gone, gone. Then hold on tighter now and you'll have it soon. Never. Aling was a stubborn girl, but when the announcement was announced and the roller coaster started to slowly start, she nervously held Sakakibara's hand immediately. Never. This is what I am. I understand, you are being arrogant. Humph. It's good that you know, I'm starting to move, I'm starting to move. Sakakibara was ashamed, don't be so excited. I try my best, I try my best. The roller coaster slowly climbed up, and Tianhaijuli Yulai was trying hard not to be frightened. However, every time the roller coaster climbed up, Aling would squeeze her hands a little harder. She was getting nervous. Getting harder and harder until the roller coaster climbed to the top of the track, and then sprinted downwards after a brief stagnation, which was so exciting that she screamed out in fear. Ah! Screaming with her, there were many other tourists behind her. The violent wind generated by the instantaneous fall caused the flaxen hair to be messy. Sakaki Hararaku accepted this thing quite well, and even had the energy to look at the expression of Tenkai Kururi. He found that not only was she clutching him extremely tightly, her eyes were also closed so tightly that he could not open them. It can be said that his appearance was ferocious, which perfectly ruined Liulai's beautiful image in his mind. Brother! Brother! It's Alok. Why are your hands so small? The 2 of them talked loudly amidst the exciting sound of the track and the fierce whistling wind. Nonsense! This is Julai's hand. Ah! Still. I still don't have any strength. Ah! It's terrible. It's terrible. Suzu's screams and the screams of tourists kept coming one after another. Raku Sakakibara didn't know what to say. Should he say he was worthy of Suzu? He was so frightened that he still felt like complaining to himself. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Buletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 363. The roller coaster went up and down for several times in a row. It was very exciting. Even though it was so exciting that he still had lingering fears, Sakaki Hararaku also felt that his hands were being crushed by this girl Isuzu. When riding the roller coaster, she was so excited that she screamed non-stop, and at the same time she was extremely scared. In addition, Liulai's body was already very strong. However, although it hurts. But when he got off the roller coaster, Sakaki Hararaku realized that he had never seen such an expression on Suzu's body. Her hair was messy by the wind, but there was unconcealable joy on her face. She was extremely happy and satisfied. Sakaki Hararaku had seen similar expressions when he took Ruri out on a date and went to the game arcade to play a game together. How do you feel? Humph, it's great. It's easy. I almost believed it. Raku Sakaki Hara chose not to complain about her, but just let her be happy as hell. I went to the place where drinks were sold and bought 2 glasses of juice. Sakakibara handed the orange-flavored juice to Amamikurayuri. The two sat on the bench. Because the roller coaster is really scary, both of them felt that they should take a rest, so they stayed here for a while. Drinking juice, blowing the night breeze of Hawaii, and watching the prosperity of the Hawaiian amusement park, my mood and spirit seemed to be relaxed, comfortable. Amamikurayuri sat next to Sakakibara Raku and saw him staring at a place in the distance silently sipping juice. Old. It's ale. Okay, ale. After being quiet for a long time, Sakaki Hararaku waited for a long time but did not hear Isuzu continue to speak to him, so he turned to look at her and saw that she seemed to have something to say. Just tell me what you want to say. Now I will listen carefully to everything. Tianhaijuli Yulai held the juice in both hands, and her crossed thumbs moved around without any purpose. This movement continued for a while, and then she whispered. 16 years, just now you took me to the amusement park to ride a roller coaster for the first time in 16 years. Sakakibara saw her turning to look at him. The 4 eyes meet and face each other. A simple sentence, but it seemed to carry the infinite expectations she had contained in these 16 years. First time in 16 years. This gaze and these words once made Sakakibara Raku's heart stir. Looking at her, it was as if he saw Isuzu in Ruri's body through the window of his eyes, recalling the moments he spent with Isuzu when he was a child. Bit by bit. This sentence was very heavy. Sakaki Hararaku didn't want to make the atmosphere like this. He just wanted Suzu to be happy, so he laughed. What are you talking about? It's not that you're scared to death of roller coasters. You said many times that you wanted to go together, but you declined with various reasons, so in the end we didn't go. Tianhaijuli Yulai heard this, first lowered his head, and then turned his head to look at the various lights in the amusement park. The sky blue eyes reflect everything colorfully. Ailing, be happy. Didn't you smile so happily when you were riding in the car just now? When a gust of wind chilled her face, she closed her eyes again and whispered. Yeah. I'm very happy. Do you know why I refuse this every time? Sakakibara knew something about it, but didn't take the initiative to speak, waiting for her to finish. I want to say something true to you, can you hear me out? Hearing this, Sakakibara smiled and said, this is not your style, Suzu. According to your character, shouldn't you say it directly to me? Then I interrupted you, and then you called me Stinky Lele and then continued. Tianhaijuli Yulai hugged juice and pouted dissatisfiedly, really, I want to tell you something from my heart right now, of course I have to be serious. Why are you still complaining about me? As a boyfriend, of course you have to be able to complain, otherwise how can you make girls happy? You scumbag, you are very experienced in picking up girls, aren't you? Thanks for the compliment. Punch you. Amamikurayuri pushed Sakakibara Raku's shoulder, and when she saw his smile, she felt a little sweeter in her heart. Okay, no more talking to you. I really want to say something. Then go ahead and I'm always here to listen. Tianhaijuli Yulai agreed and was silent for a while. She sat on a small bench on this platform and stared at the roller coaster that had resumed operation not far away for a long time, as if she was brewing emotions. We were very poor when we were young. We couldn't afford anything at that time. If I wanted to eat cake, I could only look through the window. Tianhaijuli Yulai paused. Ale, you bastard sees it every time. Every time, you don't want anything. You save money and use it all to buy me things, whether it's snacks, gifts, or new clothes. I wonder if you still remember the way you gave me something every time. Every time I see you giving it to me, giving me what I have always wanted, I am very happy, and at the same time I go to see you who gave me the gift. I feel like you have changed a little in my eyes. What has changed? I still can't tell for sure. I only know that in my eyes, I see someone who will take care of me, someone I can completely trust, and someone who can definitely give me a sense of security. People. Because Stinky Lele, you stand in front of me and stand in front of me in everything you do. Every time I am bullied by someone, you stand up for me and comfort me. Time passes little by little, and we grow up together day by day, but you will always stand in front of me. I don't know when, I began to learn to secretly see you from behind. I peeked at you doing housework, I peeked at you making up the quilt, I peeked at you doing my laundry, I peeked at you while you were picking up the food for me, I peeked at you and you even had nightmares. One day you didn't want me anymore and left me where I was. Let me cry at will, and you will never respond to me again. Every time I wake up from this state, I will be scared for a while, and then I will hug you tightly under the quilt. If it is a thunderstorm, I will hug you tighter, wake you up, and want you to say something to me. Stories to comfort me to sleep. Tianhaijuli Yulai spoke in a softer and softer voice, and she became less and less afraid to look at him. She only dared to stare at the straw of the juice in her hand. Then he continued speaking quietly. Of course, I didn't know how I felt at that time. I just felt that in real life, I would feel handsome if I had a back like yours, and if I secretly looked at you, I would also become happy. When I see you then, I feel like your smile at me will make me embarrassed. Ling, I'm here to take you home, huh? Conversations like this have been repeated countless times in my life. I like getting along with you very much, and like that we get up together every day, we go to school together, study together, come home from school together, eat together and catch up on homework, sit on the balcony together to watch the stars, and then spend every holiday together in the year. I am very happy to be with you because of trivial things. They quarrel, start bickering, and start complaining about each other. Isn't that what life is like? There are happiness, there are complaints, and there are those who get back together after complaining and continue to get along. Really? I hope this life can go on forever. No one will disturb the two of us. However, when I entered junior high school and grew up, you began to distance yourself from me in terms of physical contact. I wanted to hug you, but you would reject me. I wanted to be on your back, and you would reject me. I usually want to be with you. If I get close to you, if I act coquettishly with you, you will push me away. Every time I get pushed away by you, I feel sad. I wonder if I don't like you anymore. Later, I understood that this is the time when we have all grown up and we can never go back to the days when we could sleep together and take a bath together. My mother's career also improved at this time. We moved into a new rental house and I had my own new room. But when I saw that brand new room, I kept thinking about the place where we lived together since childhood. Although it was its only six-fold in size, with only one bedroom shared with the kitchen and living room. It even had air leaks and water leaks, but the new room no longer has the warmth that you can sleep with. Tianhaijuli Yulai said this, took a deep breath, and then exhaled all this big breath. As if to lighten his mood, he held back the tears that flowed from his eyes. As I get older, I gradually understand what love is and what love is. I can't help but compare this love with you. I found that no matter what the definition of liking a person is, I can find it. Find a certain point in you. But while I understand my feelings, I am also dissatisfied with your actions of always alienating me. Why don't you look at me more? Why can't you have contact with me like you did when you were a kid? Why can't you do that to me again? I don't want to give up, I don't want you to stop coming to see me. You always resist contact with you. I find that only by arguing with you will you respond to me like you did when you were a child, allowing me to find some feeling of being noticed. I know I'm an arrogant person, but if I wasn't an arrogant person, would you care about me? If I did everything perfectly, would you still take care of me? You will only think that Ling has grown up and no longer needs my care because our identities are destined to keep the relationship between us as it is, and if I want you to look at me more, I can only do this. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I don't want to take your efforts for granted at all, but I really hope that you can still have the same contact with me as before. I'm sorry, I'm really sorry. I've always been grateful to you. I've never hated you. I'm just angry because you ignore me and don't think of me most of the time. If possible, I will do everything in my power to change myself. I will do everything in my power to run with you far away from everyone. I want to be taken care of by you, I want to be considerate by you, I want to act like a baby in front of you, I want to be with you if you continue to quarrel, those who are noisy at night can have dinner with you. Ask why dash. Having said this, Tenkai Kuruori squeezed the wall of the juice cup tightly, as if going through a series of huge psychological struggles, turned his head, and smiled brightly at Sakakibara Raku under the cover of night and said. The neon lights of the Hawaiian amusement park illuminated her smile. The roller coaster in front of her suddenly roared past, and the sound of tracks and screams overwhelmed her voice. But even if the voice disappeared in that moment, Sakakibara could clearly see what she was saying to him in her smile. Sakakibara fell silent. I know this is wrong, but even if I know it's impossible, even if I know it will only make me uncomfortable, I still think this way about you. After listening to this long paragraph, Sakakibara didn't know what to respond to her. Tianhaijuli Yulai smiled brightly and waited for a long time. Seeing his expression at this time, he also understood his answer in his heart. She pursed her lips tightly and retracted her trembling eyes. Then he lowered his head again. It was quiet for a while. Sorry, I ruined the mood. Fine. Sakakibara answered in silence. Both of them were sitting on the bench, staring at the weeds sprouting from the cracks in the rocks at their feet. Neither of them looked at each other. I've never spoken to you in this tone, right? Is there something different about me in your impression? Ya Ling has always been the arrogant and stupid Ling who laughs and laughs all day long, makes people happy, deliberately puts on cute expressions. Ha ha. Ha ha ha. Tianhaijuli Yulai suddenly laughed. Soon, she closed her eyes, straightened her chest, and slightly raised her chin, making a proud look. The index finger of his right hand was still shaking in front of him without any symbolic meaning. Really, really? Why am I telling you these things? I'm a fool, but let's face it, you are the fool. I said so many things, but you didn't complain about me, what's wrong? Did your brain burn out when you were sick before? You can't even complain. A forced smile is a forced smile that you want to maintain even when your heart is pierced and bruised. Bastard Aling, you are the fool. What? Where was I stupid just now? Where was I stupid? I really meant it, okay. Raku Sakakibara, you are a fool if you mean it sincerely. You are the idiot. Baga. Dot. Ha 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 ha. Sakakibara didn't even know why he was smiling like this. Totally no idea. He only knew that the more Tianhaijulu Li faced him with his usual appearance at the moment, the heavier his heart felt as if it was filled with lead, and it could even be said to be painful. Faced with her feelings and her predicament, I wanted to help, but I could never help save her. Seeing it but not being able to do anything about it is the most uncomfortable thing. What are you laughing at? You were so stupid on the roller coaster just now. Sakakibara went to see her. I wish I had become stupid. Tianhaijuli Yulai responded to his gaze, trying to find some thoughts in his eyes. Are you letting go? It's hard to say. I don't know what emotions I'm feeling right now. I can only answer that it's very complicated, very, very complicated. Tianhaijuli Yulai muttered, that means you are influenced by me. Although we both know it is impossible, it is enough to have this feeling. Sakakibara stretched out his hand and placed it on her head. Really, no matter what, how can I not have feelings for you? Seeing you sad, am I not sad? Tianhaijuli Yulai slapped his claws away in disgust. After understanding his mood, she felt a little happier. Don't touch my head. Especially this is the hand of July Fox. Look at what you said. I was on a roller coaster just now. I don't know who wanted to hold this hand all the time. I'm afraid I will laugh at you for the rest of my life if Chi-Chi finds out. Then I will have to fight her for the rest of my life. You have to be able to fight her. You idiot Aling. Luanluologo, you are the idiot, idiot Ale. After this adjustment, the atmosphere became much better. But this is thanks to the fact that Ling herself has indeed become a lot happier. She took a sip of orange juice, as if to hide her feelings. In less than a moment, Tianhaijuli Yulai could no longer sit still. He approached the other end of the bench, turned his head, and tried to ask him. But what you just said, that you have me in your heart, is it true? Yes, indeed there is, Raku Sakakihara said, staring at the stars in the night, enjoying the night breeze. Okay. You're such a playboy. What a scumbag. You already have 2 foxes, but you still want to take them. Tianhaijuli Yulai clenched her fist and hit him on the shoulder. Sakakibara was defensive in disgust. Hey, if you want to scold me, just scold me. Why are you scolding me with a smile? Unrecognizable. You are an idiot. How can I tell how an idiot feels? Asshole. You called me a fool again, don't do it. Stupid, stupid, stupid. I hate you so much. While beating and scolding at the same time, changing this line to I love you to death, is not inconsistent at all. Tianhaijuli Yulai doesn't care about this, just beat him. I'll beat you to death, I'll beat you to death. Sakakihara Raku and Tenkai Kuruori had a fight for a while. Okay, stop loving me and get down to business. What's the business? Tianhaijuli Yulai stopped his hand and sat upright. Are you really not planning to get married? Sakakihara asked. No, not, I will do what I say. What should I do if my mother urges you? No matter what, I make my own decisions about my own life. What will you do if you end up alone in the future? You don't have your own family. You see others being happy, but you have nothing. As long as you still remember me. Now the bell can make people speechless even when talking? But Suzue does understand herself and understands that she will never give up on her. Sakakihara came to his senses and continued to ask. How should I treat you after that? What do you expect me to do? There's no need to talk about this, huh? Anyway, you have me in your heart. I know this, so I just have to do it. In addition, my feelings for you will not change, even if I know it is impossible, it will not change. If you don't change, I still have Kyo and Li Yulai. Are you going to be jealous for the rest of your life? Nonsense. Tianhaijuli Yulai replied with a pout, then let me ask you, aren't Chi Minjiao and Juli Yulai jealous of each other? I can guarantee that even if they coexist peacefully in the end, they will still be jealous around you. This is a woman's nature. Ah, men have it too. 2. But it doesn't matter. No matter how many women you have, you will never forget me. Who asked me to stay with you the longest? This one too. Tianhai Jululi. Besides, since you can't give me all my expectations, I will still be a happy person as before. If you like being an idiot, just say so. Tianhai Jululi punched him, asshole. Who told you to complain at this time? I'm super serious, okay. Then the relationship is good. Aling, just be yourself. There is no need to change anything. If you ask why, I prefer the usually arrogant Ling. Snort. Sakakibara stood up, raised his hands, and stretched his body. Uncomfortable. What's next? What are you doing? Keep dating. We've just been on a roller coaster and you don't think it's over. Sakakihara smiled and turned around. As soon as he heard that the date was going to continue, Tianhai Juliyulai stood up instantly. Then I want to play the bobblehead flying chair, pirate ship, roller coaster, space shuttle, Shenzhou UFO, and Ferris wheel. Ferris wheel? This thing is very suitable for ambiguity. Are you hinting at something to me? I didn't say anything. You are really hinting at me, right? Forget it. Oh, yeah. Tenkai Kuruori quickly stepped forward and hugged Sakakihara Raku's arm. No, you have to explain clearly. What exactly is ambiguity and how it is ambiguous? Did not say. No, tell me quickly, I want to hear it. Did not say. Let me guess, do you want to kiss me? No, no, this is too perverted. What are you thinking about? Tianhai Juliyulai saw that he looked like he was looking at a fool and was speechless. Asshole, it's not what you said that was ambiguous or ambiguous. How do I know what it is? Idiot Aling. Idiot Lele. Idiot Aling. Idiot Lele. Idiot Aling. Idiot Lele. Sakakihara Raku seemed to have seen something, and looked over. Wait a minute, there seems to be a tornado potato seller over there. Where? Where? Want to eat? Of course I do. Then buy it for me this time, okay. As I said, when did I not buy it for you? My identity is wrong, this time is different. Okay, okay, who told me to pamper you like this? Hey. Thank you. About the fact that I unintentionally raised my sister to be a cripple. Author, Wo Bulletin 11 Huan Tiu Lan. Chapter 364. What Kyo envies is Ling, so why doesn't Ling envy Kyo/Luli? Recalling what happened in the past few days, Sakakihara understood the thoughts in the two people's minds, and derived the third question, what does Ruri expect from him? In the last few days of his trip to Hawaii, Raku Sakakibara continued to maintain his identity as Nanami, and observed the Ruri that had been replaced on his body during his daily vacation. In fact, after changing the body, in terms of everyone's changes, Liuli was the one who changed the least. She still maintains affinity with her classmates in the class, helps out when needed, and works hard to maintain relationships between classmates. Sakakibara Raku could see that the fit was very good after Kurayuri was put on his body. Ruri, who maintained an approachable image in the eyes of everyone, had left Sakakibara Raku without a clue for several days. Since Ruri is so similar to herself and can perfectly serve as Sakakibara Raku, what does she expect from herself? This matter depends on guessing, and it will definitely take several days, so it is better to ask directly. At noon on the 13th day of the school trip, Sakakibara went directly to the hotel's buffet hall, planning to ask Ruri about this. As soon as he arrived here, he stood at the entrance and found Sakakibara Raku feeding Amami no Yuki sushi on a seat in the hall. Amami no Yuki was sitting next to Sakakibara Raku very obediently. Sakakibara Raku seemed to ask Amami no Yuki if he wanted to eat from time to time, with a smile on his face all the time. After Amami Nazuki nodded slightly, Sakakibara Raku picked up a piece of sushi and fed it directly to Minazuki's little mouth. Sakakibara Raku was still laughing and communicating with Yuki. With such a feeding scene, Raku Sakakibara felt that the two of them were getting along very harmoniously outside the restaurant. Does Liuli have such a good relationship with Zhigzu now? According to common sense, didn't Liuli and Kyo take care of Zhigzu with a certain purpose? Want her to give up? Why does Liuli seem to be treating Zhigzu sincerely now? Tenkai Nanamajetsu stood at the entrance and watched for a long time. Sakakibara Raku got up at this time and seemed to have to go to the toilet. After telling Yuki to wait for her back here, he walked out of the buffet hall. In the corridor leading from the hall to the bathroom, Sakakibara took the opportunity to reach out and call out to her. Huh? No, it's Raku-kun. Sakakibara Raku didn't react for a while, but after seeing who it was, a friendly smile appeared on her face. What did Raku-kun and Ling do last night? I didn't even see you in the assembly. Tian Haikiming you, Ling wanted to go to the amusement park yesterday, and I stayed with her all night. So sudden? You can go there during the day the next day. Sakakibara Raku was slightly surprised. There's no need to go into too much detail about this. You know that sometimes this girl Ling likes to be unruly, and I also like to be unruly with her sometimes. Sakakibara shook his head. Let's talk about what I want to ask Liuli. It's your business. Hearing this, Tianhai Liuli became more serious. Well, Lejun, please tell me. Sakakibara tried to find some details on his face, but couldn't find anything after looking for a while, so he had to ask directly. Liuli, you and Kyo have been taking care of Zhigzu in the past few days, right? That's right. Then your purpose is to make Zhigzu give up her love for me, right? Even if she doesn't know about it yet. This sentence silenced Amami Kuruori's inquiry, because no matter how good he is to Yuki, this is also a kind of purposeful care, which is completely different from the spontaneous action of taking care of Yuki by Sakakibara Raku. But after hearing what Aunt Zi said to him that day, Amami Kuruori gained an additional understanding of Yuki's awkward position from Sakakibara Raku's perspective. Yuki is not fundamentally different from herself and July. They are all people who lack love due to unfortunate families. Tianhai Liuli is very self-aware on this point. Therefore, taking this into account, and also sympathizing with Yuki's situation, even if he cannot accept that she will share Zolejun's love, Tianhai Liuli does not want to be hypocritical in taking care of Yuki. After thinking about the problem in silence, Amami Juruli sorted out his thoughts and told Sakakibara Raku directly. This made Raku Sakakibara think deeply after listening to it. Luli is saying that you really want to take good care of Yuki and don't want her to turn into the same person you were when you were little. But at the same time, you don't really want Yuki to share my feelings for you. Tianhai Liuli hugged his left arm with his right hand and nodded to him. That's it? Liuli especially wants to take care of Yuki and be good to Yuki. Sakakibara Raku seemed to have gotten a clue and continued to ask. Regarding Zhigzu, can I ask Liuli what you thought of her at first and what you think of her now? Tianhai Liuli glanced towards the buffet hall, and she saw the girl with long beige hair waiting for her quietly inside. After taking a look, she turned back to Sakakibara and said, Zhigzu was originally sent here by my grandfather. He considered that my sister-in-law had never had a normal living environment, so he wanted to send her to us, take her to school together, take her to live together, and try to take care of her. Take care of her. I am not against the arrival of my sister-in-law. On the contrary, I am happy because I have a new family member at home. During the days when I went on a motorcycle trip with Yuki and everyone, and when I played in the band, I was very happy. Still have a deep impression. I also thought about getting along well with Yuki, buying her clothes, teaching her some things, because after all, she is also a very cute person. she is a relative of me and Kyo, and she is also a new member of the family. However, in fact, during that time when I took care of Yuki, you were mostly helping her, Lejun. I also feel guilty that I didn't take care of Yuki much when I first came here, so now I want to be serious about being nice to her. That's okay. I apologize to Yuki. I see. Sakeki Hararaku roughly understood Amamikuruuri's thoughts, touched his chin, and continued to think and recall. He discovered that Liuli seemed to really like the feeling of Yuki being close to her. Could it be that this has something to do with Ruri's own longing for Sakeki Hararaku? Sakakibara got a clue and continued to discuss the topic with her. But to be honest, Liuli and Kyo were very busy during that time, right? Liuli, you just served as the vice president of the student union and the director of the Kyoto club. You have to be busy with many things at school every day. July is she needs to manage her company, so she takes the time to learn a lot of management knowledge, not to mention Aling, who is so popular that she is always dubbing, and I hear her reciting scripts at night. In this case, it seems that I am the only one who has time to take care of Yuki. It's not your fault. Tianhaijuli Yuli nodded in agreement. Lejun has always been very busy. Not only has he been recognized by his father in business, but he has also always taken care of his family. But in this case, Lejun can still take care of Zhigsu sincerely. This is something I deserve to be happy about, where you learn, but also where you feel guilty about your own shortcomings. Regardless of anything else, Amamikuruuri thanks and admires Sakakibara Raku's contribution to the family from the bottom of his heart. He does the housework and meals, and faces devilish training from his father every day. While maintaining these, you even have to take care of your studies and the band. Amamikuruuri wanted to help Sakakibara Raku take this into consideration. Sakakihara smiled. I don't think it's a big deal. Am I not your brother? Tianhaijuli Yuli shook his head. It is precisely because Lejun thinks so that he deserves respect at this point. Of course, please let me complain here. Lejun is still a scumbag when it comes to handling relationships. Even if you call yourself a scumbag, you still have to use honorifics. Even though she is Sakakihara Raku now, Ruri like this is a little too cute. Sakakihara smiled involuntarily. Well, since you and Kyo both think I'm a scumbag, I think I can say something to you directly, Liuli, and let Liuli make the choice. Will you choose to let me give up Kyo? I will, Tianhaijuli Yuli replied immediately, but suddenly changed his tone, but as a sister, I don't want Kyo to be sad at all. Some time ago, I felt that my emotions were too heavy, which made Lejun it became difficult to choose, and it made July very uncomfortable. Lejun, do you understand? A few days ago, I felt a little uneasy. I hesitated and had a video call with Kyo. I thought Kyo would criticize and ridicule my position in Lejun's heart like before, but Kyo no. Tianhaijuli Yuli's eyes glowed in the memory. Kyo still remembers that I am her sister. Kyo just listened to my troubles and the anguish in my heart, and then helped me analyze my current situation, the troubles and entanglements I faced. When Tianhaijuli Yuli said this, he smiled bitterly. Obviously I was at Shinjuku-jion before and I said such outrageous words to Chi-Chi, brother is just pitying you Chi-Chi. Sakakibara felt confused after hearing this. Liuli indeed said that, but from her standpoint, there was no problem in saying so. And Chi-Chi also said something similar, saying that he didn't love Liuli, so he chose Chi-Chi and so on. These things are emotions. The emotions are rising and it is difficult to control them. Every honest person will get angry one day. Liuli is usually such a loveless person, but Kyo has taken away the support of her heart. It is normal for her to be so desperate that her head will burst with anger. It should be said that if it were a more fragile person, a person who had Liuli's experience since childhood, but was more fragile, he would be so desperate that he would jump off the building and commit suicide, right? In fact, Liuli did have suicidal thoughts with that sword. So Sakakibara comforted her and said, "Luli, don't blame yourself too much. Chi-Chi did make mistakes for you, but I made even more mistakes." Tianhaijuli Yulai shook his head again. "Lejun, I now understand that this is the case between us, so stop talking about right and wrong. I don't want to blame Lejun for what happened before. Through the chat with Kyo that day, I found that I was just worried. Am I completely inferior to Kyo? It seems that Kyo has always been tolerant and helped people secretly. In the beginning, she even wanted Lejun to pursue me. This is undeniable." Sakaki Hararaku also recognized. "She is indeed like this in July. I want to ask Lejun a question." "Ask." Sakaki Hara nodded. Tianhaijuli Yulai became even more serious. "Did you agree to Kyo, Lejun, but at the same time, Lejun still refuses to give up on me?" Sakaki Hararaku couldn't help but become serious. "Yes, that's what I told her. I even told her directly, I'm sorry, Kyo, I also like you because of your experience and getting along with you, but I'm sorry, I can't give up Liuli. I can only give you half of my love. If you agree, I promise to tell Liuli directly about this matter. If you don't agree, then we will pretend that nothing happened." Tianhaijuli Yulai wanted to know even more. How did she reply in Kyo? "She agreed and semi-acquiesced to my relationship with you. It's just that after I told you what happened between me and Kyo, you said those words to Kyo. Because Kyo had scars in her heart, so I said those outrageous things to you again." The two of them had helpless expressions upon their discussion. "Lejun, I discovered that we are all family members who want to live well, but our relatives always open scars on each other because of some things. I even once had a bad relationship with Kyo, and because of the Aling gang. It's been 7 months and I can't talk to anyone in my family." Tianhaijuli Yulai's smile became even more bitter. "What's going on? Obviously when we first met, we all got along very well. We could all sit at the same dining table, eat the dinner Lejun cooked for us, and study together. How long has it been since we were able to sit down together? Did you eat and talk together? Very messy. Really messy." However, Sakaki Hararaku still had a clear idea. Liuli's words simply express that everyone in the family is too alienated, and the family has never been harmonious again. All that remains is the agonizing struggle and pain. The phone call between Liuli and Kyo, because Kyo helped regardless of past suspicions, led Liuli to find the sisterhood she once had with Kyo. Ruri wanted to try to relax, and no longer wanted to put so much pressure on Sakaki Hararaku. Well, the essence of everyone is to love the people around them. But because the feelings were too heavy, a war broke out between them. Tianhaijuli Yulai turned his head, staring at Tianhai's Hixu who was waiting in the restaurant, and murmured, "Lejun, Aunt Zi said a lot to me, and I was really moved when I heard it. I seemed to see my own shadow in Hixu. Does Lejun know? I have been taking care of him these days. When Shui went shopping, I took her to buy clothes and new things. When I heard her saying thank you, Sister Liuli, I was really moved. Shui is also a good child and a very good person. I can't even treat her badly. I can't take care of her with impure intentions when facing her. It's the same in July, and it's the same in Ling. I don't want to go back to the night where I can't talk to everyone after school and then play games alone. I also don't want to say such annoying words to Kyu who doesn't care about the past. Uwajioki, the more we get along, the more I miss the naughty July who held my arms and called sister beside me. After going through so many things, everyone has really changed a lot." Sakakibara's eyes were moved when he heard this. "Liuri, are you really planning to let go? Are you planning to coexist completely peacefully with Kyo?" "I didn't say that. It's just that I figured out something. And Lejun hasn't taken me to England yet, has he? Got it, really got it? Li Yulai now, like Kyo, is in a state where she can break through. They are all in a state of wanting to let go, but are still in a state of letting go completely. Sakakibara laughed. In this way, isn't Li Yulai's original wish ready to come out? Li Yulai doesn't like to be alone. She wants to chat with everyone and stay with everyone. In other words, her wish is to get what Sakakibara Raku has, everyone's love. Li Yulai, who was originally the most complicated, had the simplest wish. After thinking about this, Sakakihara was so happy that he not only puffed up his chest, but also curved the corners of his mouth. He knew the time was almost up and it was time to take the initiative and do something. I understand what Li Yulai is thinking, and I have a proposal. What proposal? Tianhaiju Li Yulai was curious. Why don't we all go to a restaurant for dinner tonight, sit together and have a good chat, call Shang Kio, call Shang Ling, call Shang Zhixu, and have everyone gather together to have a dinner. How about it? Will Li Yulai agree? Tianhaiju Li Yulai looked silently at the face in front of him that belonged to his sister, but was completely unlike his sister. If Lejun can call everyone together. Okay. That's settled then.